Call the meeting to order, the Griggs County Commission, September 23rd, 1 o'clock.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you see what I did?
Huh.
I put August 23rd on your agenda.
Hard to blame that on the copier.
No, that was me.
So I thought when she was blaming it on the copier, I thought she meant the person.
That's what I thought too.
So what's wrong with August 23rd?
I was like, oh my gosh.
Okay, we'll take roll call. John.
Here.
Dale.
Here.
Ron. Here. Sean.
Here.
Troy's here. Any additions or corrections to the agenda other than the date?
I move to approve the agenda presented.
Moved by Dale to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Will anybody see any additions or corrections to the meeting minutes from September 9th?
I thought the NDSU district director, you've got a rule of food. I thought her name was Rolfson. I thought it was Ruliffson, but check my spelling because I could have it wrong too.
I will check on that.
I thought that's who it was.
I was trying, because she signed her name, so I was trying to decipher what it was.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured, that she didn't write it very neat or something. And then just a minor one, on page 4 at the very top. Motion by adult is sign and send it, the reimbursement, and that should be just and send in the reimbursement. That's the only two things I saw.
Perfect.
Her name is spelled Ruli.
Ruli.
FFSON.
Rolfson, okay.
Rolfson.
Thank you.
I looked her up after she was in here that day because I was kind of curious about her background. It's a psychology degree.
Look how good you don't guess.
All that training.
You're saying we need one?
Not we, but he.
They had John in mind when they heard.
Yeah.
I got a guy that needs a little studying.
I get a picture in the textbook.
Build a career.
Yeah, I have.
Anything else?
I'd move to approve the minutes as presented with aforementioned corrections and dispense of the reading.
Been moved by Sean to approve the minutes as corrected. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Well, you already fixed that for me.
What?
Bank
I did, yes.
So you noticed that from your electronic packet that $24,222. It had the name of the gal that works in the trust department on there. That's why it, what was her?
LaDonna.
LaDonna Langgang.
Yeah.
And I called Sam and asked her to put the Bank of North Dakota in there as the name of the vendor, because that's kind of confusing if you don't know LaDonna. So that's the interest payment
That's the interest payment, that's correct.
on the bond. So.
That was the amount to purchase the copiers,
For,
$11,612.75.
I think so, yep. To lease them, right? We're leasing them. We're leasing them, right?
No,
We bought them.
well, which we should have,
That was what we decided.
to purchase them, yeah.
Purchased them, okay.
What is underground vaults and storage? It says software install.
The last page of the
Page 7.
The name of the vendor is Underground Vaults and Storage.
DP, but
What's data processing?
no DP. What's
Document preservation, that's for.
Oh, it's
Oh,
data
okay.
preservation. I see.
Okay. That's all right then.
What?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't
The
think,
account, I guess we.
I don't think we have an underground vault anyplace that I'm aware of.
It's for,
Or is it that place at Kansas where we store it?
it's for
In the-
rentals.
In the salt mine, I think. We're all over
I
it.
just hadn't recognized it.
Lease rental
Yeah, 'cause I
and fill box,
And what does it come out, what account does it come out?
document preservation.
Okay.
It kind of makes sense, because
Yeah.
I heard it one time, they scanned in every single document and put a copy out there in those salt
In
mines.
Salt Lake, Kansas, Kansas City there?
Hutchinson, Kansas is where this invoice came from.
Right there, yeah.
Apparently we have, they have a minimum charge. And so we must be a really tiny customer.
Yeah, I think everyone in the state has the records out there, I think.
I just never recall seeing that.
No, it's a word.
Anybody have any other questions on the bills? Been moved by Ron to approve the bills as submitted. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron? Troy? Or Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Road reimbursement requests. So, yeah, was there 3 of them in here, Wayne?
On their,
There should be 4.
Yeah, there's 4 of them.
Five, I think.
The 5?
Counting the Gilbertson one.
Progressive estimate.
Yeah, I mean, there's 60, 59, 52, and 001, the way it looks to me. Is that right? Or is that total? There's 3 of them.
I already have 4.
Count with Gilbertson.
Well, I have 4 plus this at progressive estimate. And that's for Gilbertson.
Yeah, you have 001, 052, 059, 060. Those are your numbers. Correct? Yeah. There's 5 of them. All with Gilbertson's.
051. I have 052.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
052, 059, 060, and 001.
060 and I had 001.
Yep.
Right? Yes.
Yep.
Okay, yep. I have
And
those.
then Gilbertson's.
And then, yep, the progressive estimate.
So I'd make a motion, we approve the progressive estimate for Gilbertson's for $221,221.20 and invoices 001, 052, 059, and 060.
Been moved by John to approve the progressive estimate as well as the funding reimbursement request for 059, 060, 001, and 052. So second to the motion.
for the 220 to the state.
That progressive estimate is in here twice.
This is the progressive estimate for Gilbertson's.
Yeah, that's in there twice, John. All that.
That's
That's
right.
This is the reimbursement.
Right, but that's the amount, 221, 221,
We gotta pay Gilbertson
221,
221, and then we're requesting reimbursement to the state for this.
232.
Right.
But we haven't gotten billed from Gilbertson's yet. We're not going to pay him off of this, are we?
That's that progressive
The
estimate.
progressive estimate, well, we don't need a motion for the reimbursement for the state, we automatically sign that in. We needed the motion to pay Gilbertson's, which we did.
Yep.
Yep.
And then
And then we'll,
send in for the reimbursement.
right, then they'll send in for the reimbursement, yeah.
So I did it right? Do you want to
Yeah,
look?
you got it.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Ron?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron? Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
And I have department heads on at 2 o'clock. So if you want to do the other stuff first, we can. Otherwise, we can go into the budget and do budget discussion. When I took Wayne and Jake's name off, I didn't switch the time on accident. Sorry about that.
Phone, internet, and
That's
AC.
for Travis to talk. He's not here yet.
Want to do the trailer house deal? Mobile home, I'm sorry.
Do you know about that stuff?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Stuff included. It looks like starting on page 31, 32 and 33. That's the printout from 3 years ago. And like along page 33, the bottom one there, it is valued at 8820 in 2014 and also 8820 in 2015. And then the next one, after you get up to about, let's see, 38, I think, that shows the 2015 and the 2016 values. And that's the one, let's see if I can find a good example of it. Well, yeah, like on page 39, the very bottom one there, in 2015 it was 25,000, then in 2016 it was 41,000. And that was something that Patty Lawrenson did. And me and Connie both looked for any trails she left behind on how she came up with those things. And we couldn't find anything. You know, we went through the Excel spreadsheet.
This is on a mobile home?
On mobile home.
Yeah, and that's contradictory to what actual valuations of mobile homes are. They're supposed to be depreciated as over the life, so their value is supposed to be going down.
Yeah, the depreciation rate they're using is only 2%.
Well, no, I was getting all that. But she didn't have a depreciation schedule at all.
Oh,
And so for 2017, I thought it was more fair to put in a depreciation schedule. And I just made up one completely on my own, and
I
that's,
see.
we have to discuss it. But on page 51, I put in that depreciation schedule. And then I put in formulas for 2017, so that each one on 2017, like page 54, for example, there's one column that says depreciated percent good. And so like this one that was 19 years old, just from the table, it's saying it's still 36% good. Or
because it's never going to go to zero.
right, yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't depreciate them to zero and not charge and not have any real estate taxes on them.
Yeah.
What page is that on?
Page 54.
51.
I don't have a 54.
51.
Oh, sorry.
Well, you should-
Oh, there we go.
Oh, I'm sorry, 45. I was reading it upside down.
But don't, yeah, I was looking at it too, so don't we have to make this retroactive back to 2014, the last time that we actually had a fair valuation?
I don't know.
I mean, what was done last year, that complete, there was no,
Justification for that. What's going on?
correct, nothing behind it other than unfamiliarity with the system, and I don't know what prompted that, but I mean, that was certainly an overstep, and something that we wouldn't have allowed if we would have known about it.
Mm-hmm. And that's where I'd written like an email to the state saying that she was not a certified assessor. And I was wondering how come she was allowed to do these assessments, but the Stentrich Code says that it's to be done by the tax director, even though they're not certified, so.
Yeah. But nevertheless, she worked at our pleasure. And ultimately, we're responsible for her actions, or his or her actions.
I would have
This
thought,
has to be corrected.
yeah, I would have thought she would have brought it up as a courtesy and said, look, I'm raising these mobile home prices by 30% or 40% or.
No one should have that ability to do that.
Well,
No one, in the dark of night and one person doing it, that can't happen.
Yeah.
And that's gotta get fixed.
Yeah. So I guess that's one question. And then the other one, maybe taking them down to 2% is too much, but that's what I said. After like, well, some of them are like 55 years old, but
Right.
I said after about 30 years or so, I just used 2%, and that's a pretty low number, but
You couldn't sell it for any more than that.
well, I don't know. It's just the state had a table, but it just went for the first 9 years, and then they said after that it depends on the person.
So if you have a mobile home, do you get two tax statements? You get one for the real estate and one for the mobile home?
Well,
I suppose, but a lot
typically, but very seldom.
leased a lot or
Very
rent a lot.
seldom is a lot owned by the mobile home owner, but yes.
Oh, yeah, in North and Griggs County, most of them are.
Well, I mean, the mobile home, of course, we had, yes, there was 2 tax statements.
The guy that owned the real estate
Gets one, yeah.
got one, and the person that owned the mobile home. So in the case, on these cases, 90% of these own the real estate that they're sitting on.
But they're taxed that separately.
That was my question. They get two
Yes,
tax statements.
yes.
They get one for the lot and one for the mobile.
Right, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, the mobile homes are more or less personal property.
Just like a cabin on
Well,
Redwood.
there's real
The same
property.
thing, yeah. So it's very feasible that they could go to 2% and be just salvage value.
But right,
Yeah.
in 50 years, there's no value.
Right.
But you're still gonna get a real estate tax
Yep.
statement for
Yep.
the lot. That's what I was.
Yeah, you know, and so I think we should fix it. We've got the ages of these things. I think we should go to the original value that they and fix this thing.
Yeah, I don't know the mechanics of that at all. I suppose Connie would send in something to the state and then send a refund check to them, or I don't know exactly how that works, but
Well, we approved it. So I don't know if it makes sense to unring the bell or try to.
we approved it by the fact that somebody turned it in.
It was never put in front of us.
So these haven't been billed yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then we approved them.
Well, 2015 and 16, the tax direct, I mean, it wasn't put in front of us, but I guess by the fact that we didn't see it, it's implicit approval.
Well, we must have approved
We
the,
approve the taxes.
yeah, we approved the taxes and the budgets and.
Well,
and
The real estate taxes,
Different animal.
but not the personal property taxes. I don't think personal property taxes were ever put in front of us.
That's not part of that. I don't think that's.
They have to be, don't they?
Well, it's kind of a different deal from the levies. You know, it's not a levy amount, and it was always the levy amounts that.
But isn't that part of the budget that was okay?
Do we advertise that in the paper? We don't advertise that in the paper for the budget hearings. It's more a fee than anything else. It's a license.
Well, there's actually a statutory provision in 575512 for refunding.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, if the owner of any mobile home who has paid through mistake or otherwise a greater amount of tax or penalty and interest than was justly due may apply for an abatement or refund.
So we can't retroactively refund it. We have to make it known that they're eligible for a refund, just the same as how all the systems work. But we could adjust 2017 to the correct number,
Right.
dependent on depreciation.
And they could look back the last 2 years and ask for an abatement.
Yep. because it can't go back indefinitely, it can only go back
2 years.
2 years. But we could apply the depreciation schedule to the existing mobile homes and come up with a correct figure.
And that's what is shown here.
Yeah.
Is that common practice? Did you look to see what anybody else does with these things?
Well, yeah, this, like I said, the state had something there, and it just says below is the suggested schedule of value and depreciation to be used for 2016. But it only goes for 9 years, and they had a different, they didn't have, we have it listed above average, below average, and average, but here, for some reason, they just have single wide and double wide. And single wide, or double wide, they say it depreciates a whole lot faster. and that, my table is real close to the double wide for the first 9 years.
So at the end of the 9 years, what is the percent of salvage value?
Well, they said for a double wide, it's 68%. And I think
68% depreciated.
no, 68% is left.
There's left
Yeah.
9 years, so they're depreciating
32%.
Yeah, about
A little over
3.2,
3.5%.
Right. Yeah, after 9 years, I showed average 66%. So, and then after that, I just kind of continued on for years 10 through 50 or whatever, just kind of kept pushing it down. And maybe there's a, even in the bank, do you have a depreciation schedule for mobile homes? Probably not, I suppose. There's probably some out there, but I don't know that they would.
If somebody comes in to borrow money for a mobile home, I run in the basement and hide.
I mean, after 20 years, you have to pay to get moved off the lot, you know.
Around here,
Yeah.
it'd be different.
Yeah.
So where's the chart where you adjusted them all on?
Well, it's on page like,
47?
well, yeah, maybe what's
Or from 45 on?
Is it?
Yeah, okay.
The Texas Comptroller has a depreciation schedule and they only go to 41 years if it's in good condition.
Oh, someone, who is that?
The Texas Comptroller, Texas government,
And what's the salvage value at 41 years?
20%.
I suppose that's about right, because 40 years from now, that dollar is going to be
Yeah.
a lot smaller than it is today. So even if it's a
Right, it's still zero.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, page 45.
I see a lot of 45-year-old ones on here just scanning.
Well, the ones that are left in the trailer court down there, I think, you know, a lot of them are pretty old.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them in the 40s. Yeah, because the way it goes, it first it does the rural, and then it does, was it Binford? Or no, Hannaford, I think, then Cooperstown, then Binford. I don't think the titles got put on here.
I'd make a motion that we adjust the 2017 mobile home taxes to reflect their age and their depreciation
As presented by
as
Ron.
presented.
Been moved by John to adjust the values of the mobile homes in Griggs County to reflect their age and condition as presented by Ron. Is there a second to the motion?
Right, second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion?
Well, should we have an accompanying letter? I mean, obviously there was a statement here.
With their statements?
Yeah,
Saying that they have a right to ask for an abatement.
I believe so.
I wonder if we can, I wonder if Connie has the ability to put a message on their statement. I bet she does.
Could you draft that?
Yeah. Someone reminds me to do it before they go out, yeah. Who wants to sign it? Connie or you guys?
No, I mean, just put a message on the statement if they can.
Unsigned.
Yeah, just say that if you don't agree with your taxes from the last 2 years, you have the right to ask Connie for payment.
Yeah, or this year, really. Still have the right to protest.
Right.
this week.
Is there any further discussion?
That was just another circumstance where this tax director position, unless you have a qualified person, just comes back to bite and hurt everybody. This is absolute ridiculousness.
Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Tom? John? Aye. Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
That was a good thing.
There is also some information on page 54, if you would read that email. And then,
Oh, we all got it, didn't we?
yep.
Yeah.
Let's see.
What would you like to do about that?
We just did it, didn't we?
These are delinquent taxes.
Oh,
According to the statute, the tax director just needs to send a letter and we need to do civil remedies and have a tax sale. I think.
Just like any other real property,
Yeah.
right?
So it says one of the two owns the lot that it sits on. So is it both the lot and the mobile home that are behind?
I think they're just
Yeah, I think she broke it down.
I think it's just a.
Did you?
That's it.
Maybe it's just the mobile home. It's,
well, one of the two owns the lot, it says,
Yeah.
that the mobile home is on, and is up for the county taking if not paid by October 1st of this year for $550.
that's probably just the mobile home.
4 years of taxes add up to about $420. Even if he'd get a payment schedule, that would be better than owing all of this and paying the interest that is accruing. The other one owes about $340 for 4 years. So, one of them is on rented property.
But is the amount owed just for the trailer house, or is as a property tax being paid? That's the question.
Not on the one.
One's renting and one owns, according to this.
Oh, I see, so it's $970.
That's what, yep, on that one.
I see.
The other one, $340, that's just the trailer house, so.
Well, the one thing, I know that we've done it, but I don't see where we have the ability or the right to be financing taxes past the due date. I can't find anything that Century Code allows that. We've done it, but
Well, it does. The Century Code does allow it, and I don't know.
on a tax sale when you're sitting,
Right.
but not on delinquent taxes.
Right.
Not, you can't do it as a preemptive.
No.
You have to own it before you can write a contract for deed. You can't write a contract for deed on something you don't own. So
Right.
the county would have to take possession
Right.
and then write a contract for deed on the property that the county owns. I just don't think it's the right thing to do.
Well, no, I mean, and that's on a case-by-case basis, but as far as delinquent taxes, no, that can't be done, so that isn't a remedy. And there is no criminal remedy for this.
No, it needs to be.
This is just civil.
Sheriff's Department.
We don't have debtor, Jim.
Well, there is a criminal portion of it if they owe the taxes on it and they remove the trailer house.
Yeah, well, yeah, but then
there's an infraction.
Then you can get a judgment.
Yeah.
Right. But that's an infraction. But I think all we have to do is they should have gotten a notice on June 1st or whatever it was, or before June 1st, and it needs to be in.
Well, I mean, over the last 100 years, there's probably a precedent somewhere set for this. Because there's trailer houses all over the United States. I mean, we
Right, well, it's written,
Yeah.
it's outlined in the century code, I
Yeah.
know that town code is code.
Yeah.
I think it's doing first that the statements have to be out, and if they're not, then they have,
Yep.
county takes possession and it's sold on the sheriff's sale.
Straightforward. And if we have property I think the only time that financing method should ever be used is if we have property that we cannot sell, cannot get rid of.
It's not saleable.
And then possibly, but for certainly not on the first sheriff's sale should that ever be an option.
Well, and for the cost of this property, it's not like we're financing $50,000 property for the cost of property if they can't pay the $900 or $500 or whatever. Probably shouldn't finance it because we're gonna get it back anyway, either from taxes again or from the contract not being paid.
Yeah, and it's really a question on whether or not you can even finance what the delinquent taxes were after you took it. I think you can probably finance the principal, whatever the property is worth over and above what the delinquent taxes are against it, but I don't think it's proper to finance the delinquent taxes
themselves.
the money owed. But if we just don't do it, we won't have to worry about it. Ethically, do we levy taxes, take people's tax money to lend it out to other people?
Well, here was the thought I was just having is if we get into the home loan business, it is, I don't think the county wants to put themselves in that position. Because it is such a highly regulated, I don't know how it would be looked at, but possibly Elizabeth Warren and the rest of her cronies at the CFPB would want us to follow all their rules if we were going to do that. And there's no possible way that we can because we don't have the expertise to do that.
Well, again, it's taxpayers' money. Why should we take money from people in order to lend it to other people?
I mean, I'm not in favor of it, but I don't even know if it.
It's like having
I think you're taking a pretty big risk if something went awry and they sued the county because we didn't have a flood determination or we didn't do something disclosures right.
Disclose the mold or
and I think it could be a horrible can of worms.
I think it should just be an unwritten policy that we just don't move forward with something like that. It doesn't seem ethical and it seems like a can of worms.
Yeah, it sounds like we've done that in the past. We've done payment schedules, I guess, in the past. I was unaware that we've done that.
Well, I think we're opening ourselves up for more expense just if we're gonna finance something that's gone back in taxes to the same people again.
Yeah.
What's the chance of them being able to pay for it again, and we're just gonna go through more expense of having to take care of it again?
So I guess the point of this whole discussion is we shouldn't be, as a public entity, informing people that is an option. That shouldn't be part of the what are my options if I can't pay my taxes. That we can have the Tacoma finance. It should never be mentioned.
Well,
It shouldn't be mentioned because we don't intend to ever follow through on it. So why offer something that
We can't do it anyway. You can't mortgage property you don't own.
No.
So you can't finance delinquent taxes.
Well, don't say you can't. Say that you shouldn't. Because it's been done. So it was
Well,
done.
I think you guys can make it a policy that that's not what you guys are gonna do because the statute says may do it by contract for deed. You guys don't have to do it if that's what you guys choose to do. You guys can make it a policy that you're not gonna do it.
But Troy's right, it has to be in our possession first.
Right. Yeah, you guys can't finance or sell something you don't have.
A single wide has a title. So you'd have to get the title, get it transferred into the county's name, and then sell it to them on a contract.
No.
We just gotta make sure Connie gets.
And
the
that
vote.
double wide doesn't have a title, I don't think.
No,
So you'd have to file UCC at the Secretary of State's office as a security instrument. And who knows, somebody else might already have one.
Yeah, so maybe
And
we
you
should
don't-
make it a policy so that all the elected officials in the county understand that there is a policy and we won't be doing that.
I agree.
I would recommend doing that because if you do it on a case by case basis, then you open yourself up to some discrimination, suit possibilities as well.
So you can draft a policy for us? Just a short term policy?
Probably best to do a resolution, just draft a
Yeah.
resolution for you guys.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
So is that off, that takes care of this completely? There's nothing else that needs to be done regarding this?
Oh, did they get notice? They got notice that
Apparently.
they're selling, right?
Well, for delinquent taxes, but not on mobile homes. I don't think. Because that's a totally different deal because these have been delinquent for
4 years.
4 years and I do the 3.
Yeah, but these guys should have been noticed too, right?
Yeah, they should have.
There's same rule. Or
I
not.
think-
Says their
There's
reminder
other
was sent to them
trailers that were
10/24/15.
Say that again.
There were other trailer houses that got noticed this year. Who've been dealing with one, right?
Well, that it seems like that's the lot. Isn't that the lot that it's on, not the trailer house? Because that's what it says is, one of the two owns the lot his mobile home is on, and is Upper County taking it, if not paid by October 1st of this year, for about $550. So I think that's just the lot that I'm taking care of.
They need to get notice, and it's too late this year because they're supposed to have gotten notices by June 1st.
So you never send out mobile home notices?
No, I don't think so. That's not.
So these are a different animal from real estate, so you just need to take care of these?
No, they need to be done by, code says that they need to be done by June 1st, the notices have to be sent out.
Well, why don't you research it and then we can.
Well, it says here she sent one 10/24/15.
Well, I'll have to do some research and find out what she got.
Maybe this is what Connie takes
She,
care of, but this isn't.
She sent me an email last year and told me I needed to take care of it, and I said that's not really my job, and I didn't know what the heck was going on. And talked to the tax director up in Nelson County, and she takes care of everything, so that's what I told her to do, and I don't know if anything ever got done. I'll do some research and have an answer for you guys for the next meeting, I guess.
Thanks, Jamie.
See, there's a letter in here from Sally Halua regarding court facilities improvement grant. I don't know that we're in the market to be applying for anything through there, are we right now?
I should
We have-
ask Kelly, I mean, she's
I
been the
think
one
it'd
that.
probably be best to ask Kelly to see what anything else that we need.
She got the same letter, and it didn't seem like she had an interest. So
I mean, we need to use the one that we have right now, right? We haven't, have we been reimbursed for?
We'll be reimbursed.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be reimbursed.
Lori, need you?
yep, I'm just gonna give her the bills.
Yeah, we'll be
Wasn't there
reimbursed.
still some room in that one though? Some funds that,
Mhm.
I mean, there's no sense applying for another one if there's.
Well, I mean, this will look like it's for maintenance and upkeep, and so if we do something, maybe we should apply for it.
I think
Because after all, it's their court, it's not ours.
Right, well, she'll be up here in 15 minutes.
Yeah, we'll ask for it.
State Fair,
State Fair delegate, you guys usually,
did you talk to Kelly?
I did.
Okay.
And he is willing to do it, so I do have
Okay,
there's a letter on my desk there, Troy, if you want to sign that.
Who is it?
Kelly Hansen?
I would make a
Was it-
motion that we appoint Kelly Hansen as our Griggs County, North Dakota State Fair delegate.
Been moved by John to appoint Kelly Hansen as the Griggs County delegate on the State Fair Board. Or is it a board member deal?
Unless you want to go.
Delegate.
Delegate to the State Fair. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
That was wrong. I thought it was 48,000.
Or it was never paid before.
Oh, D&D gave you a quote?
I think we could actually talk about that, because that's not part of the 2017 budget. That could actually be an amendment to 16.
Does he have time to do it this fall?
Yes, he said if we could make a decision today, they either done this before winter.
Because that fix that he did earlier this year, that was kind of a
We
temporary.
just took.
Oh, you did it. You guys tarred it up.
Seal all over the flex all over, cracks on it, sealed the cracks up, but it's still pulling.
Okay.
Should we have a motion to revise the agenda?
We do that?
Sure can.
Been moved by John to add
I'll
highway.
make a motion. I'll make a motion that we revise the agenda to add the roofing of the county shop for consideration.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. The roof, as we all know, the roof on the Griggs County shop is in need of replacement. We had gave it a temporary patch earlier, and it appears that there will be enough money left in the budget from 2016 that there's room to get that done this fall.
Yes.
Are you going to spend the gravel money's not going to be spent this
Tom
year?
doesn't have any pile stuff, especially for me.
So we could amend the 2016 budget to put $30,000 in the roofing fund, taken out of the gravel fund, and then, because the gravel fund's going to roll over anyway.
There must be an existing fund, like building maintenance fund or something for that, isn't there?
No,
There isn't, but there could.
there could be.
There isn't.
No, and no, there isn't. But
Isn't there
there's
buildings and grounds for the whole courthouse? I mean, it's just another building.
no, not there hasn't been. There should be, and that's one of the yeah.
Okay.
But there's money there. It just isn't labeled. It isn't labeled. But anyway, the next question is, if it's a repair like this, and the roof is repaired, do we have to do it? It's under $30,000.
Well, it's under 100,000, so I don't think we do.
And I got the century code here. Dale said that in the schools and stuff, if it was under 100,000, they didn't have to.
Yeah.
4801.20-02.1 public improvement construction threshold.
Should we put that in the record? So under Century Code 4801.2-02.1 public improvement construction threshold, the threshold for bidding construction of public improvement is $100,000. The threshold for procuring plans, drawings, and specifications from an architect or engineer for construction of a public improvement is $150,000. So is that, so Jamie, you believe then that we can move ahead and authorize this roofing under that?
Yep.
And contact. Dale?
We better have a motion first.
I move that we approve the repair and replacement of the roof of the county shop in the amount of $29,250, $29,250.
Been moved by Dale that we contract with D&D Roofing in the amount of $29,250 to replace the roof on the county shop. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion?
Should we amend the budget?
Yep, that's next.
Oh, they do that separate.
Oh, this is a year old. Is it going to be the same? Oh, you addressed it. Oh, I see. You
called
changed
yesterday
it.
and
Okay.
changed it. And he
Okay.
went up and he said he figured it'd be 30,000 next spring.
But what was that wrong? I'm sorry.
Well, I guess the next motion will be to amend the budget, so.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
All right.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Okay.
I make a motion that we amend the 2016 budget, adding a line to the budget.
To the county the highway budget, or
The county road budget,
okay?
adding a line to the budget.
Well, there is a shop expense though.
No, that would be more like material, yeah. More, building repairs, I think would be fine. And funding that with $30,000, decreasing the line item for gravel by that $30,000. So the gravel will be now $170, and the building repair will be $30,000.
It could be more if there's wet insulation or additional wood damage underneath.
Yeah, he has a
barriers.
contingency in there for that.
But we'll have to amend it again if that happens. It doesn't matter. We don't know what's going to be until.
Well, it's an individual line item, so it really doesn't necessarily need to be amended either.
No.
It's within the general fund.
Yeah, well, no, it's kind of a, you know, it's not in the general fund. This is in the county road budget.
Okay, then I wouldn't, yeah, then it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
You say you can start on that right away?
Pretty soon he said you'd be able to get the one.
Good.
Is there a second to the motion to amend the budget?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
All right.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. I imagine the department heads will be coming up here in a little bit, a few minutes. Do you want to take a break
Do you want to just
beforehand?
keep going through the budget? Because this will be your last meeting before the budget hearing. So we'll have to go through the whole.
Are we going to do that when they're here?
Well, yeah, but you have like the other, like your general expenses and those ones.
We maybe we start at the beginning. They're gonna be here in 5 minutes, right after I make a motion to take a 5-minute break.
Then move that we take a 5-minute break. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries. The item is the budget.
Okay.
Take it away.
Okay, so we'll just go one by one, and since these guys were the only ones here for right now, can we just go to? Do you want to go one by one, or can we go by department heads first? So that these guys have to be out of here by a certain time, so I was just wondering if we could get
So
there.
do we.
You do?
Doesn't matter to me, whatever you want to do. Whatever.
Okay, so let's go to page B12 is recorder. Kelly, do you have any thing with recorders? Does the commission have any questions for Kelly? On that one? You've seen all
Yeah, I
of
think
it.
we kind of went through that last time, didn't we? Was there any changes to the last time we talked?
Dues went down. Dues were at 300, and dues, did that change?
I don't know, you sent a
270.
budget, didn't you?
Yep, I
It
said
says
so.
275.
Now it's at
275.
275.
Let's see, hang on, let me look. Yeah,
Maybe they lowered them after they came and visited us.
no, they were 275 in the last one,
Are they?
right here.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay, so just keep.
We had some discussion on the digital records. Now, all the records are digitized, right?
They have been digitized, yep, they just haven't been, I'm still waiting for the last round to come back to me, and then I'm in line, and I'm waiting for the quote to come back from the company. It's a different company that has to take all those digital images and put them in our DocuPro system.
You guys don't do any of the indexing?
None of the old records. Like, when documents come in now, we scan them, we digitize them. Anything that comes in now, we do.
Right.
These are the old records that they came and they scanned. We don't put those in our system. We have the company that, Tyler Technologies, that runs our program. They need to input all those images into our program. We don't.
So those, when are they going to be done?
I don't know. I'm still waiting for the quote,
Who
and I'm
knows?
behind other counties to get them in. It could be, I don't know, I'm stuck behind Cass County, so.
I thought at one time they had digitized everything and put it in the salt mines in Kansas.
No.
But is that,
the-
am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, we have some old microfiche
Okay.
down in the salt mines and, down there in Kansas.
Okay.
And then we have some microfilm out at the state.
At the state.
So, yeah, we have just a little bit out there. Most of our stuff is down in Kansas, but the last stuff I sent to the state.
Yeah, I thought everything was in Kansas, but that's not the case.
No.
Okay.
The microfilm that we get, quarterly we get it from the stuff that we digitize now. They give us film for it, our engine. I store that here. So,
But there's also stuff in Kansas.
no, some of that's the older stuff.
Okay.
That's there, yeah.
You're not still making tape.
No, well, Engine sends us, they have it backed up on system, but then quarterly they send us, I don't know how many, if it's how many hundreds or how many thousands of, just on film, microfilm, they send it to us. So then we keep those, so it's like another hard drive. It doesn't cost us anything.
Why do we have microfilm?
It's just another backup, it's just a good hard backup.
I agree. That's getting to be obsolete.
I don't know.
I mean, you can't hardly find a reader for microfilm anymore.
I don't even think they manufacture.
Yeah, I don't know where you can, where
Do you have one?
want to buy them. We check them at the library. We go through and we check them, just scroll through it to make sure that it looks like everything is there.
That's probably the only microfilm reader in town, I imagine.
Yeah, yeah. It's just kind
We
of.
have an old one in our basement.
Do you?
But there's so many different, some of them were read cassettes, some of them read reels. I mean,
Microfiche and microfilm.
well, the fish reader, that was a different deal.
That was a flat part.
That was
Yeah,
faded.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like the parts guy.
Well, I carried a little microfilm reader in my pickup when I first started working at Cheyenne Valley. That's what all our history was on.
Oh, good.
That seems like a very antiquated way to back up records. I can't believe that they're doing that. Because they're digitizing them.
We do here, and then Endred has them backed up on servers, and then they just, I don't know how long they're planning on doing that. There hasn't been a discussion to.
How do they even make film out of it?
I have no idea. It just shows up in the mail. I don't know. And then I just put them in storage, so.
How do you find out how long it's going to be before these records are indexed?
Well,
I don't want to. I'm not going to move them over. I don't want to move them over to that other building.
Well, we have to move them regardless.
No, we don't.
Well, we've already found, well, first of all, they're not in our system. So when somebody calls for, mortgage book 30 because they need it for an abstract page, whatever, we have to pull that book out and make a copy of that.
I thought you digitized it.
I found several errors just going through some of the DVD that we got from them. Just, like this amount of pages were missing. So I called the company and said, I'm missing these pages. So they came and they rescanned them. So that's another reason why we can't just get rid of the books, because there's things that, we have to stand the test of time. Is everything there? I don't know. Where would we put the
Find
books?
out.
I mean, if I,
Don't care.
well,
But we have to safeguard them.
we do. We have to keep them. It's forever. We have to have them. We can never destroy them. We have to go by retention schedule.
The purpose, the way they got around not putting a vault system in the new courthouse was digitizing the records and then keeping them in storage that way. So one way or the other, because they aren't digitized, we can't move the books over to the new courthouse because they're not fire resistant and we don't have a way of safeguarding them. So they have to actually stay here until they're digitized and can go in the safe storage.
They're digitized. They're just not. They're not indexed.
I understand. But so moving the books over there will not safeguard them, and that it has no purpose. They're not safe there because if it burns down, they're gone. But the cost of building a safe in that new building was prohibitive. It would have cost as much as the whole building in order to build physical safes big enough to safeguard the records. So that was the digitizing portion of the new courthouse project.
So what was the plan for the book, for the paper? Go to the Heritage Center and get stored in the basement? Or
I don't know that. I don't know what the plan was, but I know that the way around the vaults, the expense of the vaults, was digitized.
Now, whether or not that was actually ever going to happen or not is another matter.
It's done.
Okay?
How do you find out when they're going to get done?
I'm still waiting for the quote. I could send them another email and ask them how long it'll be for the quote, and we're looking at a time frame, but
You index your own records, don't you?
we do now. Yep, if you bring a mortgage to me now, we scan it and we also index it. We haven't done away with using our books, our actual physical index books, because
I'm talking about
it's a
indexing
double
it.
check. We check. It's a good.
You what now? You're still building the old ledgers?
We have index books, is what they're called, where it has all the legal descriptions, all the different cities. And we have one for deed sign, and we have one for mortgage sign. So if a mortgage comes in, we scan that mortgage, and then we also go into the back and we index that where that mortgage is supposed to go. So it's a good balance, Your computer system is only so good. I think you need to come see it to understand what I'm talking about. Your computer is only so good. If I accidentally put section 30 in, if I type section 30 in, what's supposed to be section 31, if you do a search for section 31, it's not going to show up. But if you go to the back and you check the index and you happen to find, it's just a good balanced system. It doesn't, yes. I think you need to come down and view it, and then you can understand what I'm talking about. Because it's a good balance, and there's.
If you're gonna store all that paper anyway,
There's 6
then we
books.
should throw the computers away. You don't need them.
No, we're not storing
Huh?
papers. You get your original paper back in the mail. I'm not keeping papers. I don't keep papers. I'm writing numbers down in a book and indexing it. I'm just writing numbers down, and then we send the original copies or the original documents back to whoever sent them in.
Right, and then we shred them
Whatever.
once they're recorded. We don't need them.
I don't know what happens on the other meters, but.
The killer's emails are never lost; they're just misplaced. Into Ethernet. So do we have to move the actual hard copies in when we move?
You have to do
Probably.
something.
There's definitely some of the ones I would say at least a good 20 years back we would have to take. Those are the ones we access the most. Those are the ones that we have the Astra company that comes every week, and they are slinging books too because we don't have all these old on yet. Once that happens, then it's a totally different ballgame. But
Okay.
it's kind of out of my hands right now.
So you have the electronic documents. You index you know, your indexing and my indexing aren't the same clearly. When I'm talking about indexing, I'm talking about indexing it digitally so that the key fields are populated so somebody can do a search on a database, not looking in your book with a list of numbers in it. So you guys are indexing the electronic documents now when you record a document. If I bring you a mortgage,
Right, we scan it, you know, once we receipt it, it gets a document number, we put the labels on it, we scan it, and then we go in the back. What my definition of indexing is, we index it in our track books, so.
I'm talking about populating the key fields in the Endrin software so that I can find it again. If I'm sitting at my desk, I'm gonna go search grantor, grantee, both, section, range, lot, whatever I need. You do that indexing.
Yep, so like when the
Right.
mortgage comes in, we type in the names,
Yep.
we type in
Right.
dates, sections.
So-
sections, yeah.
When this company takes your digital documents from the old documents and indexes them, they're gonna index them into Endrin?
They're just gonna put the images into DocuPro. We have to do the physical indexing. We have to put the grantor, grantee, the legal descriptions. We have to do that.
So there's 2 steps left in the process.
Yeah. The biggest one obviously is the actual indexing, which could take, that could take a long time, a really long time. It could take 2 years, 3 years.
It's gonna take a long time and somebody's gonna be bored out of their mind. But it still has to happen.
Yeah, it's what we do. I mean, it'll be a good project. It's a long project, so. Like I said, I think when the whole initial digitizing and let's get rid of these books, I don't think it was thought through completely, because I personally would be comfortable with all these books or pushing them off to the state for quite a few years.
You don't have to be comfortable with it, but I think it still needs to be done. The girls weren't comfortable when we quit writing on our loan sleeves in our vault every month because we had the loan payments on this computer system, but we did it anyway. It is the right thing to do because you can't do things twice and call it a savings. Technology has no value if you keep doing everything the way it was done before. That's all I'm saying.
Yep, I agree. I just don't think we're speaking the same language, but I mean,
think we are. But anyway, okay, carry on.
Are we gonna ask?
Sorry.
Or see what? Oh, we're gonna ask Kelly about is this the right time to ask her about that grant now too?
Oh, sure. I got that letter from Sally,
yep.
and you got one, and
Yeah.
there's one in our packet. Is there anything that we need to consider, or do you? I mean, maybe there's nothing that you need right now. Or,
Yeah, I don't think so. I thought about it and it's just there isn't anything that comes to mind. I think we're pretty taken care of over as far as the new building, and I don't think we wanna do anything here.
Like, there's no maintenance items that need to be done. I mean, it's improvement and maintenance fund.
Right. I think, as far as the only issue that we've had here for a long time that we did receive a grant for was the Kevlar, and we kind of just, once we're moved over there, it's kind of a moot point because it's built into the bench there. So there isn't really anything that I could think of.
Cleaning equipment, vacuum cleaner, something like that.
Wasn't somebody squawking about the height of that bench or something at one point in time?
Yeah, I don't know who built it or designed it, but it's really,
Cora,
yeah,
I can talk to that.
the desk.
That was initially planned to be higher, and the architect took it upon herself to change it. After several resistances, he just changed it, they built it that way, and it's best.
So that goes kind of on the building coordinator guy.
I didn't know that. Good try, Cody.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so they want that tall. So all that's gonna happen, I don't know.
Well, that's why I asked right now, because is that something that we should look at, or,
I mean, that could definitely be a possibility. I mean, I think Travis Travis
If I can
can
talk
talk
a
to
little bit
us
about that, this would be a good time for the wiring before it goes in there to get that done as well, if they already make modifications to it, so we're not working on it
Right.
to change it to
Well-
work on it again. So, because the state's gonna come in to put in all the audio equipment too. And then one thing I noticed, there is no outlets on the desks themselves above. So like if you want to take a laptop and plug it in, you gotta crawl underneath the desk and plug it in, which is just, it's an inconvenience. It's not a, worst case scenario, but that would be one modification too.
You mean on the judges, on the bench?
On all of them, so like the whole entire bench, so like if the judge comes in with the laptop or computer, or if the recorder, anyone comes in needs to sit down with the state laptop, everything, all the jacks are underneath. So this bench, all the jacks are above.
Well, there's 2x4 holes cut in the wall up on top of the bench, isn't there? I thought there was something up there.
The
Maybe
link, or I don't know if that's not, maybe it's not complete. I don't know too. Maybe there wasn't supposed to be more jacks put in. But from when we were
I thought there
last
was
week-
2x4 holes cut on the wall above the bench.
No, maybe I missed that.
I don't maybe.
Yeah. It's not hard. It's not really put together right now yet either.
Right.
So I'm not even sure how much electrical is
But
done yet.
the reason I asked the question is just if that's something that would be eligible for that deal, and if it needs to happen someday, today might be the best day. I don't know.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
thing is, I think
It would cover under that.
the custodians were asking, I think at one time inquired about a vacuum cleaner. And would that, any maintenance, would that qualify under
I would
that?
think so. I would think so. We could certainly.
Yeah.
All they can do is say
put
no.
that on.
Yeah.
Right, and it's a big space over there. It's a big space here too. So
Yeah.
it would be beneficial. So.
So maybe that would be something to look into.
So if you want to do the bench, then where do I start with that? I mean, what we need to do first is get a quote of what it would cost.
Well, first, you need to find out what you want to do.
Yeah. Is it easier to just rip it out and put a new one in, or is it able to be modified? to
Oh,
the point where
well,
the
things
work
are
functions?
Kevlar lined and all
And I mean, well,
that.
that's like the Kevlar. Can you reuse that Kevlar for on another? If if it just got to be a height thing, can lifting it up work?
Well, I was just thinking put it on a platform or something.
I think
I think Ron and I had talked about that because of the ramp.
the ramp doesn't meet
Right.
regulations for being wheelchair accessible,
Yeah.
handicap accessible.
But I think we also talked about if that one part that was added, because I do have the plans where the bench did look different before. If that one part was taken off, we could reshift it
Shift
this
it over
way
and then
and then raise, and then there should be enough room over there.
Wouldn't the first step be to ask the court what the specifications for their bed should be? So that we know we're doing it right.
Yeah, what
height.
What do they
They have
want?
standard.
I mean, if we're paying for it, it gets to stay the way it is, but I suppose if they're paying for it, they should be able to have it all they want. I would think.
Okay. Any other questions on the grant deal? Okay.
Okay, I missed one, so can we go back to B8? And this will be district court. Kelly, do you have any questions on that one?
No.
Okay. Commission, do you have any questions for Kelly?
Hang on here. No, nothing in the notes, sir.
Nothing then? Okay, I'll continue on then. If you go to C20. And this is our tax. And this is the one that is getting moved, right?
Or deleted.
Deleted.
We're gonna discontinue the R-Tax fund, yeah. So we showed transferring the 15,997.34 into the general fund. And I guess you still are putting money into the Our tax fund right
I was
now?
gonna ask that, if we still do every week, if we have 10 documents, we put $20 into that fund on Fridays when we deposit. Do you want to stop doing that or continue through the year?
You have to continue to the end of the year,
Till
to the end of the budget cycle, right? Yeah, because we're working on the 17 budget here,
So
so.
then but in 17, you'll no longer charge anything to our tax. Or put any
Can you
revenue.
refresh my memory, what was this for anyway?
Treasurer, auditor.
Yeah, it was the,
Oh, it was a-
recorder, tax director, treasurer, and auditor. It was something they set up in, did we find a date, 1990s or something like
Yeah,
that?
something like that.
Just a fund that they set up for, somebody needed, I suppose, a desk or furniture, they just set up the fund for those offices to use those funds,
I see.
specifically those, so.
So it's like, it should be spelled O-U-R instead of just R.
What's that?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Why don't I have it here and,
You just turn the page, it's document preservation.
hang on here, let me,
Sorry.
I just wanna get some notes on here on this archive, so let me just look here. Okay, so we need to then amend the 26th, there's gonna be a bunch of amendments made between Christmas and the New Year, so this one needs to be amended 12, I'm just gonna put 26, 16. So there'll be either a special meeting or something to amend the 2016 budget so that when they close them out at the end of 16, all these numbers are correct. Okay.
And obviously, on December 27th, you wouldn't put any more money into it.
Okay,
Yeah.
we good on that one?
Yep.
You flip the page, it's document preservation. Kelly, did you have anything on that one?
No, I don't think we went through.
That was just the travel one did get taken down or put to 500 and office expense was at 400.
And that was just to make it, the travel money across the board with the treasurer and the auditor, we made them all the same, right?
Right. Yep.
And on any of
Just
these, on any of them, any of these travel budgets, if there's more money needed or more money needed for training, then you know what, just come to the county commission and request the money. Because there is money in the general fund to do that. It's just we wanted to make it all the same, and then anything over that would have to be a request.
Go ahead.
So just so you guys, the rest of you know that across the board, the travel did get taken to 500, like
For
John just said, for us. If, like, for VSO and county agent, it was mileage as well, so that was
You left
treated
those.
differently, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, sheriff,
Yep.
road, they had it as travel, it really wasn't travel, it was mileage and it was an expense, so. Travel, we just assumed was going to classes and things like that.
And a lot of the social services, same thing.
Social services, right, that didn't do it. Travel was always listed, but it's more than travel. The same with the VSO officer.
Right.
Yeah, because he,
Drives forward.
yeah.
Part of the job.
Okay. So that was all for Kelly's budgets. Kelly, did you have anything else?
No.
No, okay. So we'll go back.
Who's next?
Information technology, B17. Travis, did you have any questions for the commission?
The 5,000 is taken off, correct?
Correct.
Oh.
Yep. That was the only change that's been made. Commission have questions? for Travis? You all right? Everybody good? B19 for the sheriffs. Bob, did you have questions for commission?
I just want to revisit that vehicle. I went back and crunched numbers on it. I can get that down to $29,700. And that would be the maximum. It may be less than that. The basic cost of the vehicle, he told me quote between $25,000 and $25,500 for that vehicle, the police package, police car. I just asked if you guys reconsider that, put that back in the budget. That Impala is looking at about probably $3,000 to $4,000 of maintenance work, the air conditioning systems, all of it, which is affecting the heat system of the car. There's issues there, and then I guess if we went forward with the car, I would ask permission to sell that Dodge pickup immediately on bids, or however you're going to do it, put a minimum bid on it or something.
When it costs that much money to set up a vehicle, I can't see getting rid of them when they're half wore out. I think they should be completely wore out.
Well, I better know the Impala is wore out.
And that can go down the road, and that pickup will do what it needs to do for another 100,000 miles.
Yeah, and the malt we had set up the Dodge is pretty minimal. That was Paul's vehicle. He did a lot of work himself. Travis did some of it outside. What's charging some of these vehicles, it doesn't matter who does it, it's all in the ballpark. The neighboring counties get $1,400 and...
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I bought lots of utility vehicles. When I spent all the money to get them set up for a utility vehicle, we drove them until wheels fell off of them, and that's what we should do.
Yeah.
And that Dodge pickup's got a lot of miles left in it, so I think we should drive it until it doesn't. That's my opinion anyway.
Like I said,
you don't get that back.
No. You don't get that back for any vehicle you sell from the law enforcement or road department. Yeah, that's the fact.
No, the setup is sunk. I get it. That's why it should be spread over as many miles as you can.
I mean, I'm not looking for a new vehicle just because I'm looking for a new vehicle. In my opinion, having driven that Dodge pickup, it just needs to go. It never should have been used for what it's being used for. That Paul bought that for an administrative vehicle for himself. He wanted to quit in a year early. The vehicle got put on the line. That's where it went. That's all it got there. We wound up with the other Dodge at the time. That's what the commission wanted me to purchase. So we got that truck. VW treated us very fair on that. We've talked to Don about this car. He said he cannot get this car for any kind of price even near this because he's not a state bid dealer. He said he encouraged us to get the car. He'll get the warranty work on it, service work, all that. Now, if it's my personal finances, I'd look at it differently. I would go along with what Troy's saying. I would work that truck. I'd drive the truck till the wheels fall off. That's why I do it on commercial vehicles. This is an emergency response vehicle, and I gotta look at it that way. What makes the most sense for what it's being used for. And like I said last meeting too, I don't know if any of you have driven the pre-12 Dodge pickups versus the ones after 12. There's a 9-day difference on the gravel. 9-day. That pickup
VW they'd never heard that before when I went and talked to them.
That's fine, Troy. You can sit there and laugh all you want. It has no bearing on what I'm talking about. Why don't you go and drive it? We'll drive in the gravel, Troy. That's what I'm saying. You sit here and make comments, but you never check nothing out except for other people. Come and talk to me. I'm the sheriff. I'll be the sheriff. So
I don't imagine the Dodge dealer would know much about 2012 Dodge pickups. Or
it's a completely different suspension. It's a coiler suspension. Anybody that knows anything about Dodge pickups knows that. Before 2012, they were just a leaf spring system. They're horrible to drive on the gravel. Paul had like 9 sandbags in the back trying to make it stable in the gravel. And these are just facts. I'm not here to dream up things. So I guess it's in your guys' hands.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay. Anybody else have anything for Bob?
Open for questions.
Okay.
Nothing? Okay. On the next one here, give me 1 minute.
Well, I mean, we're gonna have to make a decision on this, because we're not gonna revisit this before this is put into the public.
Yeah, when is your finalize this year?
October 10th?
It's October 7th. Yep. It'll be at 6:30.
Right, but it needs to be put into the paper here, right? shortly
Yep,
after
on
this.
Monday, yep.
Right, so I mean, this is the decision here.
Right, yep, absolutely.
So do we discuss it, do we ratify the whole budget, the budget as a whole, or do we, in these budgets that have the budgets that are contested by the department heads, do we owe them a decision or vote on that? Or how do we do that? I'm not quite sure.
I can't remember.
Can't either.
Did we vote on every budget last year?
We've done it both ways. I know that when Cindy was here, she kind of insisted that we do on every one, but I think last year we did not do that. We didn't vote on every single budget, I don't think. We just kind of went, I don't remember for sure. We might have voted on some and then voted on the entire budget.
Okay, I think it was the general.
Bet there's a right and a wrong way to do it.
Well, I mean, the right way is we approve the budget as to go forward to the public as a whole. What I'm saying is when we're dealing with the department heads, maybe it's easier if we can still use parliamentary procedure, Robert's rules, but maybe it's easier to have a vote on it so that everybody's on the same page as far as what we're putting forward. You know, I don't.
Otherwise, somebody might disagree with one portion of the budget and they're faced with a decision to vote for the whole thing or not
There
for
you
the
go.
whole.
That-
I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's like I said, one thing, and you know, it's a plain word, John. I'm not contesting your guys' budget. I'm just asking.
No, we contested yours, Bob. That was his point.
Yeah.
I mean, you presented us a
Yeah.
budget and we changed it.
And to finish my statement, you guys made it very clear 2 years ago and last year and this year, you only want us to bring forth with what is needed. So that's what I've done. That's what I've done.
Contest is probably too strong a word. I mean, it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, I think
it wasn't meant to be
it's fine.
argumentative.
Because I mean, I think you guys, the rest of your budget's needed more than fair. So, and I'll work within those parameters and we'll make it work.
Are you calling for a motion? Or
Well, I mean, I think it's just fine if we have a motion for every one of these budgets. There's nothing wrong with that. It isn't going to take us that much time.
yeah, so if so, I'll move to approve the budget for the $197,371.06 for the sheriff's department.
Been moved by Ron to approve the budget of $197,371.06 for the sheriff's department. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion?
So
We probably should have the motion before we start the discussion.
Okay.
actually. I mean,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, you're right.
no, I mean going forward.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
we're
right.
water
Yeah,
over
yeah.
the dam now, but go ahead, John.
So then that's excluding the vehicle.
That's the way I read this, yeah. Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron? Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carried. Now, do you wanna go back to these other ones that we've already looked at, or
We lump them together and vote in one.
at the end? Or what are we doing next? IT, social services? We're done with IT already, aren't we?
We are done with IT. We got
Road,
Can I request you to go with DES, like?
DES?
Yeah, people coming in here.
okay,
yeah.
so,
What number is that?
B21.
No change or challenges on that.
We just, the only thing that got changed here, Bob, is keeping with the theme of the thing, we put the travel to $500.
Yeah.
It's just
No, we didn't.
It's 1,000 in here.
No, never mind. We didn't.
And the reimbursement went out, it's just shy of 12,000
Thank
for
you.
that time frame. And there'll be a second reimbursement, probably in January when we're a big one, but this next grant will go to 2018, so.
okay.
Were you able to talk to anybody that might be interested in applying for this?
Well, I thought was not interested this time, he's not ready to pull the plug what he's doing, so.
And you're willing to keep going with it?
Yes, I guess, I've talked to a couple of the commissioners over the past time here, and I'll get the DES to a point where it's ready to do whatever, if I keep it or somebody else does, it'll be ready to change hands.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm in favor of you doing it as long as you want to. Make a motion, we approve the DES budget as presented.
Been moved by John to approve the DS budget as presented. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Ron? Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Next.
Okay. Just keep going with Bob's budgets then.
Yep.
Trying to find the next ones here. Emergency, is that one yours, Bob?
What?
Emergency?
Which,
Oh, no, sorry, no, my bad.
well,
Alcohol monitoring is pretty straightforward.
yeah, them other ones are just, I mean, whatever comes in, and we don't know who's gonna be blowing it to. Actually, I'm in the process of trying to, get that into the hospital's hands, so we'll probably do that. There's people there all the time.
Well, and the way it looks,
Is regional
there's a little
corrections
bit
still
of profit
separate?
in it, so I mean, it makes it.
No,
Additional corrections, 231.
It's $1 test.
Yeah.
So is that the
So,
next one?
I've made initial contact, now I don't know if there's a goal.
You will have to talk to the Attorney General's office.
Yeah.
For giving us the permission to.
It's all that gets done.
Nelson County has permission to do it, so I don't see why they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, he's got to be applying. So they're the ones that hurdle when you fix with it. They'll talk to you, probably, well, you do.
Yeah.
Say that.
When-
Should we do regional corrections?
Oh, yeah, but in, yeah,
Okay, regional corrections,
what number?
C31.
On my hand, getting up on things, so I don't need to get there more. They pay jail bills, and that's my own.
Okay,
The C31, okay.
What's the 15,000?
that's just what we're,
That's just a guesstimate of what the expenses are gonna be?
correct.
Yeah,
So
so,
that's basically what we think we should go for.
so this is another one that was gonna be amended at, end of the year, is that correct?
I don't, it was at one time, but then I thought we reversed that, and it's,
Let me look here.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be amended. But
No, we were just gonna let the balance carry and yeah, that's fine. So the 15,000 is no longer, that was gonna be a budget revision, but it's not gonna be. We're just gonna let the 30,000 carry and then deal with it next budget cycle.
Okay.
What does that mean, John? Sorry about
We were trying to make the expense meet the actual
Revenue.
budget number. And so far, we haven't spent much out of regional corrections this year.
Yeah, we've been lucky this year.
It's been, yeah, so we were trying to make it match, because we were looking at, trying to get a better handle on a tighter budget, not to save any money, just so for purposes of budgeting, because we're up against that 0 mil increase. But we decided after looking at it that whatever money is there will just roll, and it will just be, we can make the arrangements, the changes next year, and if we change the way we do this budgeting as far as sending the money back to the treasury at the end of this next year, then it'll make it simpler. Yeah, we can just budget whatever money we need. It won't decrease the money available. It just makes it a little. The budget will be on a yearly basis rather than carrying money over and over again. Still available in the general treasury, but not trying to keep track of what was budgeted 5 years ago and carried it forward into this budget. It just it ties money up that should be liquid. Is what happens when you do that.
Yeah, that was initially for
Windows done.
No,
I got called in on trying to meet one on why $86,000 in there. I said I don't. Oh my God. Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
What everybody misses the point, and I'm probably the guilty of it more than anybody. A budget is not money put into a fund here and then dispersed out. All this budget is a method of determining how much money you're going to spend out of the treasury and keeping track of the money you spend out of the treasury. The check is still written out of the county treasury. It isn't written out of the 2016 budget. So accordingly, it's supposed to be a yearly appropriation, and we just haven't. We're trying to get it back to that point and make money more available, more liquid, because the unappropriated money in the county treasury is still available for the next year's budget. But it gives us a lot more leeway when the money's not tied up in an individual fund somewhere.
Okay.
Now I know that involves a certain amount of trust that the county department heads have to have with the county commission, that we're not somehow trying to take your funds away, but that's just the way the process is going to have to work. And I don't think the county is going to get run short of any services that they need. But on the other side of it, there's going to be money that's available that could be used somewhere else if need be. So it might be a little slow. We'll do it really slowly, I think, but it'll improve the process a little bit as far as the budgeting goes. That's what Wayne tells me anyway.
Yep.
Okay, everybody good with that one? So that should be all for Bob's stuff. All right, we'll go to C7, County Road and Bridge.
Questions? See you draw the short straw today or something?
Say what?
Missed that, what?
I said, I asked if you drew the short straw because you have to be last.
You want to explain that one out?
Wayne's got the day off today, so I'm trying to get him out of here, and
He's salaried, he doesn't care. He's not gonna go home and mow the grass anyway.
No, not today.
Because it's kind of rainy.
At least it's not snow.
That's true.
Well, John and I talked about it. It looks like it's going to be a good process. So before we do it.
Yeah, I think, and on C6, I think we've already talked about it, that C6 is one that's being closed down, farm market. And so we showed the transfer out of it, the 761,000 and into the road fund. And then you haven't charged it, you haven't put any revenue in it this year or expenses in it this year, so this thing will die out in 1 more year or 2 more years or
2 more
something.
years, yep.
And that's per the 16 legislature that wanted them all put into one.
Right.
And then on page 7, we should go into it for a while, because I do see that I made a mistake there.
On what, C7?
C7, yeah.
Just
Because-
7?
Yeah, just
seven,
plain 7. Yeah, on the county road and bridge fund, where it says transfer out. I forgot to change that number. That number should have been 527,000, and I'll make that change. And that means that the December 31st, 2016 balance is 0. And then we also will be changing it, that the transfer in on January 1st of 2017 will be that identical number, that 545. Because now we've got the,
You're going to change the transfer out, you're going to lessen that by $18,000.
yeah.
Yeah,
to
then
make-
it'll stay the same.
Yeah, to make that 0, and then the transfer in, the transfer out will be the same. And that's so that we're in compliance with the Century Code. And it's kind of a long, big issue maybe, but what it is, we're transferring that money into the, we're supposed to be transferred into the general unappropriated balance of the county treasury. And so that's really what that is showing, that transfer on December, and we'll do it on December 26th or thereabout, it'll be transferred into the general unappropriated balance. And then the next year, we were proposing to transfer that same amount back into the fund. But it puts us in compliance with it says at the closing of the auditor's books on December 31st, the balance to the credit of each annual appropriation. So that's what we're doing with that transfer out and transfer in.
Right. So if you look on C7, and you look under estimated expenditure 2016, in actuality, we got to show the balance. We have to show the December 31st balance. The transfer out doesn't come until between 16 and 17. So the actual balance at the end of when we close out the books in 16 will be that 545,771.64. Then January 1st, 2017 will be 0,000, and then the transfer in to the 2017 budget will be that 545,771.64. But the balance, it has to close out with the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the transfer comes between the time it closes out and the time it opens. In that minute second between there is actually when it goes. And so this is kind of a test run to see how this whole process is going to work. And it's going to work very well, because then it gives us the ability to fund any of these accounts to the extent that the request for money from the department had accepted a request for money matches what we can give them. And in the county road budget, it was almost mandatory to do it this way because the voters had said that they wanted 30 mills. If we left that big balance in there from 16 and show it into 17, we couldn't legally levy 30 mills because we had way too much money in there to levy it. So if we send that money to the unappropriated balance of the treasury as we close out the books for every year, that money is still available, and it's supposed to come back into the next year's budget as much as we need. So this is a kind of a test. This is kind of a test on see how this all plays out. The money's not lost. If for some reason there was something that was done incorrectly, or the money's still there. Again, the treasury writes all the checks. These budgets don't write the checks. The software just keeps track of how much we authorized the county to spend and how much of that money was spent.
Right, but those unused balances all go into the same bucket, so you could reappropriate it. It doesn't necessarily have to come back to the same budget in the same dollar amount.
Correct.
If there's a need somewhere else.
A really good analogy of this, a mini scenario of this is the way that the treasurer, the auditor, everything in the general fund is taken care of. So when the auditor budget closes out for the year, she doesn't have a balance. If she got money left, she doesn't have a balance in her budget. It goes to the general fund. Well, this is just the same thing. So really you have a wedding cake here, and the budget's the bottom, then the general fund, and then the unexpended balance in the county treasury. And it all just flows down from there. Why we got away from doing that way is I think an interpretation of the software. The software gives you the ability to do it both ways. It appears like the county was trying to do it one way or the other. Because there are some funds that you cannot transfer the money out of. The tax increase for new courthouse, it has an intended purpose passed this year.
Two things they were trying to do.
They were trying to do one. So if when this is all said and done, both ways will be utilized here. Some funds will go back to the county, to general county treasury. Some will stay in the fund. Right. Yep. And on this mix mash of both. So I think we'll be okay here. And again, if by some strange occurrence something got done wrong, the money didn't go away. It's always been in the county treasury, and it always will be there. Yeah. We'll have to inform Harold that this is the way we're doing it, because he was never closing out a budget. He was calling everything other than the increase or the carryover from the previous year. That's what he called unappropriated funds. The $3 million that was left in the budget at the closeout, he didn't call unappropriated. But it's very simple, and then the software will be a little different. So, Ron, how is this going to look then? This won't show any transfer out. This will show the 545, 771, 64. That won't be the number, right?
Yeah, it'll be about 527. So
it'll be 545,
Less the 18,390.
Yeah.
Okay. Minus 18,390. So it'll be 527, 380, 80. 527, 380, 80, and then if you go up in the balance January 1st, 2017, that'll be 0. And then the transfer in will be the same. It'll be 585, 771, 64.
What would be that 527?
No.
Well, if we go to 7B,
Yeah.
for the building repairs, I stuck in that 40,000 for roof repair.
Right.
I think we should scratch that.
Why don't we leave that for
You
future
want to-
building repairs? Why don't we start a fund for that?
Well, because we amended the 2016 budget, but
Right.
but we can still leave it.
If we leave there, then we've got a building fund there, and then, I mean, because there's things inside that shop that need to be
Yeah, no,
done
we
too,
can.
the painting and,
Yeah, so I have used 40,000 for that. So then maybe this number should be 567.
it'll be 564, 380, 80.
567, right? Or adding 40,000? Isn't it 527?
No, 524. Oh, 527, excuse me, yeah.
Yeah, it was 527, 380, so it'll be 567, 380.
That's right.
And then, I don't think there's any reason to show that budget amendment
No,
we made today. We just don't show it. For 2016, we just revised the 2016 budget.
But it's gonna lower your transfer.
no, it didn't. We didn't, we didn't lower the overall budget of 2016. We just moved money around in the budget, so it won't make any difference.
Balance is gonna change.
Hmm?
The balance is.
The balance won't change. We just took 40,000 out of the gravel fund and put it into another line item. It won't make any difference.
Yeah, it'll add up this 5,000,004.
It'll still be the same, yep.
5,408.
Yep.
And honestly, I have a number there rebalanced because
Yeah, I saw that.
these numbers, and I stuck them in cement, but I didn't. We used to have the salaries were in 3 different pots, and I tried to combine them into one pot, and I screwed it up somewhere. So I'll go through that again. I'll take that rebalanced number out, and I'll correct it up here. But the bottom line, the 5,408, that's going to stay.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, with you?
Yep.
Yeah, just to mention, I guess, that on the state aid, I know you've shown Wade the state aid numbers, kind of based on last year.
What page is this?
Well, like 7, 8.
Okay.
And going over it with Connie, she's only, they're down about 24%, 28%. And I know Grand Forks County, lower there is about 28%.
I think that's high.
Yeah, I think it's based on the sales taxes, and we're kind of thinking, well, it's gonna underrun in 2016, but we lowered it in 2017, and we should be pretty close, much closer in 2017. If the oil prices really picked up, they could pick up again, I guess, if there was a lot of sales tax money in the sales and
So
stuff.
35,000, what we're at?
Yeah, well, it's the two there. We had the-
32,000,
Yeah, 32 and the 16. We were at 48 from the two other budgets, and we lowered it from 48 to 35.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, just, yeah, we had the state aid from the FAR, federal aid.
Sure, well, you're gonna combine those.
Trying to combine them.
Yep.
That's it. And that, well, in the general fund was the big one. We lowered it from 350,000 to 250,000 for state aid, so that was pretty good step.
Okay.
Anything else on the road budget? No. Can we go to 911 coordinator really quick? C13.
I make a motion that we approve the 2017 county road and bridges,
As modified.
as modified.
Been moved by John to approve the 2017 county road and bridge budget as amended. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Ron?
Yep.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
Where's my?
I think if we were doing this
C13.
like truly like a Robert's Rules of Order, we'd go to a budget, somebody'd make a motion,
Yeah.
somebody'd second it, then we'd discuss it,
Well, yeah.
and then we'd vote on it.
You're right. I think that's technically correct.
If we did that, we might be the only county commission in the state to do it that way, but I think that's the right way.
Wayne, do you have anything about 911 coordinator?
What page?
C13.
13 and 13A.
You've seen the changes.
I don't see.
Does the commission have anything?
My own question, it's probably for Travis, but for the state radio and phone line, we had the 15,800 in there. That number's correct, right?
For my budget?
Well, no, this is in the 911 budget.
That's for the,
That's, I think we show like the revenue coming in from Griggs County Telephone, some page of Griggs County Telephone. I wanted to make sure.
Oh, I guess I'm not familiar with that. I'm not
Okay,
certain.
all right, that's fine.
I would guess that, yeah, because I think the fee that's applied that the phone company collects is divided out between the county and the state, right? Or something like that. I guess I'm not certain.
Yeah, okay, no, that's. Now, if you're okay with it, Wayne, I would move to approve the 911 budget as submitted.
Been moved by Ron to approve the 911 budget as submitted. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron? Aye. Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carried.
What page is that?
weed control, page 29.
What's that?
C29.
Page 29.
Weed.
I have no questions.
You get your chemical used up?
Very little. Yeah, I've try to do some this coming week or before it freezes. But still we'll have to find a place to store it. It's October. It's warm.
I'd make a motion to approve the 2017 weed control budget.
Right.
I'll second that.
Been moved by Sean, seconded by John, to approve the 2017 weed control budget. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Ron? Sean? Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
Flood? It's not getting mine, but kind of mine.
What's that?
Leafy Spurge.
Flood, 2009, 11, and hopefully there's no other year out there.
Weed control C13.
13, 15, 16. 2009 is closed out, 2011 we'll be waiting for from the state, and then there will be another 3% different reimbursements. So after that, we'll just expense out to the townships and the county.
So,
In 2009, did you guys take that out, throw that out?
Yeah, we showed a transfer to the general fund.
that's another one, yeah.
Okay.
Again, in end of 16.
And the same with the flood, we showed that.
Flood control.
Yeah, it's safety.
Right.
We need the amendment.
And 15, page 15 isn't done yet, so.
Yeah, we just figured you could spend up to the 26,901 this year. You're still under that budget, I guess, and we'll find out later.
I can't spend it because it's gotta be spent.
Approved project, right?
Well, yeah.
It's gotta be spent legally.
Well, I
So-
know.
But, yeah, and, you know, there'll be some money left over in that from the administration.
But you'll probably
Just like
finish
last
it.
time.
You think you'll finish it this year?
Hopefully it will get completed, the audit and everything. And, because I think they want to get done with that, and then there'll be reimbursement. So it'll only cost the county, or the townships in the county 3%. They get additional after it's audited. Should be good.
Do we want to make a motion on them, or are you all good there?
Yeah, I would move to approve the 3 flood control budgets, or the flood control, the flood 2011, and the flood 2009 as submitted.
Been moved by Ron to approve the flood control budget, the flood 2011 and the flood 2009 budgets. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Ron? Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
All right.
Any more?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Okay. So now we'll go to but no, I'm just kidding. If you go to C16, County Welfare Board.
See you, Bob. Wayne.
See you guys.
Yes, guys.
Any questions that you ladies
The
have?
copy that we have, had a total expenditure of 411, 424, 54. And I just wanted to know if that's the correct one.
No. On the one we have, and this is because of the workforce safety insurance, that I was using too high of a number. And I've talked to Tammy about it, and we all agreed that we should change that workforce safety insurance number to 0.67%, which changes that line 10 down to 1602.52, and it changes the total to 407,344.84, just under the legal limit of 408.
It's 409,119 is what you can have. What's
Well,
the total on yours?
407,344.84.
344.84.
Yeah.
We should have a copy of what you guys have, you just never sent us one.
I guess I didn't realize that did get
Okay,
changed.
so we
I
should have
I think I
that.
just did it last night.
Okay.
But
So-
here's,
I'm so sorry. One more time, just so I have it correct, when you're saying your total state's 407,344.84, and just so that you're aware that the max for Griggs is 409,119 per the state.
Right, yeah. So before, when I used the other workforce safety number, obviously got us over. So
Was there any other line you changed then, or was it just the WSI on there?
just the WSI.
Okay.
That WSI right now is 1602.52, Tammy.
That.
Okay, you do.
I wrote it down on here.
Okay.
Just I'm requesting that we have a current copy when you have a moment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I sure don't know if I did. All of these salaries here, I put in, I think it's from your spreadsheet or your spreadsheet or something. And I'm not sure that I have them right at all for Monica or anyone else, but as of right now, I'm showing SIA with no raise. Then I'm showing that the LSW, licensed social worker, I put the money in there for that.
okay, so that is Monica, correct?
No, that's a new.
That's a new person, okay.
According to what I see on here, it looks as though Sia was given a raise. It looks to me like all of us were given that .002.
Yeah, I could be dead wrong on this.
Okay, except for the two that had to have the minimum raise.
We're at 63,036.
6, and that's what you were in 16. You're probably looking at a different one than we are.
Okay, I put the amount that was requested, I'm not for sure here. I'm looking at what was requested for SIA, and then what I look at where it
Yeah,
says
but
final
she didn't
appropriate.
request a raise.
That's correct, but according to what's in the column for final appropriated, it appears to be.
Yeah, we've done that.
That's wrong.
Okay.
We've gone through a few by.
Then we should really have a current copy of what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
we're supposed to, let's take a 5-minute break so we get them a correct copy.
Yeah.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
All right, thank you, John. I was on that.
I'll bring it back to order.
So you have the latest one now? I'll just read. Okay, like for Tammy, requested was a 39,192. Oh no, that was 2016. Then requested 43. Then I showed a 0.2% on that one. The next one, for some reason, well, I showed exactly what you requested, 33,124.
The question is, why is that less than what?
Yeah.
Why is that less than the 16, or is the 16 wrong?
Yeah, in 16 it was 35.
I can speak to that.
Okay.
When we budgeted for 2016, Janice Johnson was in that position.
Okay.
When we budget now for 17, we have 4 months where Monica is actually an underfill, so we pay her as a tech minimum, where once she goes to where she meets her underfill, starting May 1st, then we pay her the minimum for the one position. So we need less dollars in 17 for that position than we needed in 16.
Okay.
Is that the same with Jennifer then? Because Jennifer had 28,000 in 16. Then it went down to 23.
When we budgeted in 16 for that position, it was a full-time position.
Okay.
Now when we're budgeting, we have it at a 4/5 position. We made that choice, or CM made the choice to cut it back 1 day per week.
Okay, that explains that then. And then for Don, for whatever reason, I did show a 0.2% increase, as well as for Sharon, and the custodian. In emergency services, I didn't change.
Salaries.
Yeah, the custodian is in there twice, right? Or in mine it is. I have $1,000, on line 5, I have $1,000 and.
I can speak to that.
All right.
The salary up on the top there for Dawn, that's for her to be doing the cleaning. The other spot where it talks about custodian, that is supplies.
Okay, good. So I know my formula was wrong, because I was putting payroll taxes on the 1,000.
Okay,
You know, I was putting
that's-
FICA and everything on all of those lines above there, including the board members and emergency salaries. I added FICA to them, but maybe they should have been.
The FICA does need to be for all the salary, like what you just stated.
Emergency salaries and. board
That's
members?
correct.
Okay, but
That's
not,
correct.
and homemakers, that's the, okay, just the custodian, $1,000.
Right, because that's for supplies.
So that should be labeled custodial supplies.
Yeah, and then I'll move it kind of below the other stuff, so that, don't do that again.
Oh, so you keep salaries.
Yeah, I was trying to keep, yeah.
Yeah. I see what you're doing.
I guess that's probably all my questions.
So Monica and Jennifer are being treated salary-wise according to the state salary recommendations, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And the rest of the employees are over the minimum, so they are being treated by the state salary recommendations also.
We did a 0.02%, Ron did for the rest except for mine.
Right, except I don't think that it can be both ways. It's
We
either-
didn't do the 3%.
Yes, you are in compliance. There is no 3%.
No.
They raised the minimum 3%.
Right.
Okay, so there is no 3%. There never was. As long as you're above the minimum, you are within. My point is, it can't be both ways. It can't be the 0.02% plus be in compliance with the state. It has to be either or. What do you want to pick? Do you want to be the state compliant, or do you want to be Griggs County compliant going forward from here on forward? Because right now, I mean, these numbers were just put in because we were treating everybody in the county identically. These aren't hard, fast numbers. So they were put in here for discussion, and that's the point I want to discuss. How are we going to do it? I mean, because it really shouldn't be both ways. That's not fair to the rest of the employees.
Are you stating that, I mean, because we have to be state compliant, we don't have a choice on that. So are you stating that those of us that are above the minimum should get 0 raise?
Correct.
Is that what you're stating?
Correct.
Okay, and, you know, I get, according to this, my raise would be less than 4 cents per hour. So really, there's no difference in giving me nothing. So we do have to stay state compliant. We don't have a choice there.
I know.
So are you stating that you would take away what we already have to be at the minimum, or are you stating we get no raise?
No raise, and let the minimum catch up to you. I mean, if that takes.
Or that'll be next year for me.
Right, and then you would start, so that we get everybody on the same platform here.
Okay.
That's my preference.
And I did that to 3 of you. It was you and Don and Sharon were the 3 that I put the.
That are
And
already
it's
at
not
the
much,
minimum.
you know, it's like 50, well, I don't know, for Sharon it wouldn't even be that, it's like.
She was 2
$30.
cents. She was 2 cents per hour.
Yeah, I know it's not very
And
much.
and I was 3 point some cents per hour, and so really it's you know, no raise versus that raise isn't much of a difference. So no raise is, you know,
But I
that's where it
think we
sits.
should just leave them the same as the rest of the employees, because it's gonna, that minimum's gonna, we're gonna get to it anyway next year. Doesn't make any difference. At least you're treating everybody the same as far as salary from this year to next year. Once the state starts mandating that we do the 3% raises, we're gonna have to.
But at
If they
that
keep raising
point-
those minimums 3%.
It was never a 3% raise. It was a 3% raise if you were at the minimum.
Exactly, but there will be. That's my point.
Not all
No,
of them. No.
eventually though.
Right, I mean, so two of them got
It
caught.
depends on what the cost of living
Two of them
is.
got caught up, two of them got caught in it this year where they had to have raises. I mean, the point is correct. It doesn't make, the money doesn't make much difference either way, but it is a policy that is in place, and which policy are we gonna go by? That's the one point. I mean, well, you guys wanna do it. And then the other thing is, the part-time employee there has never been, that's not a settled issue. That was just put in there because you guys requested it.
I know, that's why we're here, so to talk.
Right, yeah. I know, but I mean, just to make certain that they're on the same page as we are, that this wasn't talked about.
We misunderstood at the beginning, and I'm sorry about
No,
that.
that was probably our fault.
Okay.
We didn't put our letter with the budget we said. All that was done was we put the budgets into a format that they could be discussed. And we can't change, you can't change the numbers that you put forward.
Well,
Until now.
but we did some, I mean.
Make recommendations, yeah.
Well, I mean, like the patrol car was taken out of there before.
But it was discussed and it was put back in, you know. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
So have you talked about the part-time employee with this group or just with the other one? Just with the social service?
No, both. Last time we
We did
talked
the
about
last
it.
meeting, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, the research I did on it is, and I can't find a matrix that says how many cases each social worker is supposed to be charged with, and when and what threshold does a new employee come on at. And the question is if there is such a matrix and if there is such a threshold, is it per social worker or is it the department as a whole? So because one social worker has too many cases, if there is a matrix to indicate that, does that mean that you hire an employee or is it supposed to be spread across the whole system?
This is what I go by when I look at caseload numbers, is pop them in where they fit. And it says, like, per worker, how many for a full-time position. And then I just put my numbers in there. And at the bottom, it gives you what amount of a worker that should be for the numbers that are entered. So that one is like, today is 1.12.
That's what you need over and above what you have now?
No, I just would like because I'm 55% social worker, so I'm just requesting a 50%.
I don't know if I understand this.
That's just the social work duties I'm doing right now.
No, but this is just for you?
Yeah.
Right, what I'm saying is, as an aggregate, what happens if you apply all the caseload to all the social workers? Then what do you have to?
She's it. We don't have any other social workers. The rest of us are eligibility. She's the only licensed social worker we have.
Mm-hmm. And for that, like, I guess that's what an EW is, an eligibility.
Eligibility workers.
There's no caseloads for eligibility.
We have caseloads, but they are not social worker caseloads.
Right.
And so because none of us are licensed social workers, we cannot do those duties that this licensed social worker can do. We have a total different caseload than the social worker has.
That you're probably wondering.
Right, that's, so the only person in your office, the only people you can take care of then as a social worker are the people that can't be taken care of by somebody else.
Yeah, my social work case programs, I'm the only one that does those. For like home and community-based services, child protection, foster care. I'm the only one that can do those.
Okay, and I know a question before I forget. What's a DCA again?
Direct care associate.
And like, I see one of them is a pay grade D and one's a pay grade F.
Sharon is a direct care associate 1, meaning she can only do like the homemaking tasks. She can't do any type of personal cares. That would be a 2 if we have that position, but it's empty.
And also there's, and that's written somewhere, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many caseloads for DCA 3, and I suppose so many caseloads for DCA 1.
DCA 3 would be a parent aide, which is what Dawn is.
Okay, yeah, and she's a pay grade F, I see.
Right.
And that's by statute or something, I suppose. Okay, I got it. And the caseloads also, the pay grade and the caseloads are by statute. Okay.
So do you apply that to everybody in the building?
This is just for social work. There's a different one for eligibility workers. But I have a calculator for eligibility workers too.
And all those are at or near 100%?
We need to reevaluate. I need to look at it again. I haven't looked at it for a while.
I haven't looked at it either.
And the penalty for being understaffed is?
This is a liability for the county. If, you know, the county's sued by a client or a client doesn't get the services that they need, they die or something terrible happens to a child, you know, want to make sure you have enough staff to be able to handle everything that comes in.
The reason that I asked that question is because if you do those measures on the rest of the people in the department and there's room for more something, then can you hire a person that can help you and do eligibility work both, instead of having all these people that can't?
But we don't need
Because to me, like, these caseload this isn't a static environment. You know, it ebbs and flows, right? So shouldn't a person have some capability to ebb and flow with that?
We don't need any more eligibility work help though. We have
That's my point.
enough, so.
I can kind of speak a little to as to what our different job duties are also. I'm an 80% eligibility worker and I'm a 20% bookkeeper, just so that you're aware that I'm not full-time eligibility. I carry a caseload. I finally do have it down to about 102 cases right now, and we're just starting to take fuel assistance. The season starts October 1st. We are starting to take those applications. We usually run about 120 to 130 of those, and they're just starting to come in. Like I said, 80% eligibility. Now Monica, who is learning all of the ropes, she is 100% eligibility, and she is carrying right around, I think we have her up getting close to 80 cases right now. Jennifer, she is a 4/5 worker. She is labeled as an EW technician. The only economic program she works is fuel assistance, and she is just learning that program. Her other duties are front desk duties. Every call that comes in, everybody that comes in and needs to talk with someone, All the documents and verifications that come in need to be scanned and renamed and sent to the appropriate workers. Once we have worked cases, it all needs to be electronically filed into FileNet. She does all of that for us. So she is more there to help us with our, basically in the old days, you would maybe, say it's like filing and doing more reception work. She is labeled as an EW technician, so she is able to go into the systems to be able to look, is there an open case for somebody? What's their Medicaid ID number? She handles a lot of those calls so they don't come back to us that are working the cases. So, and like I said, we have her at 4/5. We used to have a full-time EW tech, but we did assess that we didn't need that position at full-time. Therefore, that's when Sia said, let's go to 4/5. Hopefully that answers your questions a little bit about where we are with the EWs.
Sort of.
Okay.
So it kind of reinforces my thought,
Okay.
kind of, because now you got one gal that's working 80%, and one of them that's not quite up to speed yet. It seemed like one of those people should be a social worker EWT, so that they could be a full-time person, help Sia and do EWT work.
The only problem is, to be a social worker, you have to go to college and get the social work degree. You can't just be a social worker.
Right. No, I get that.
Okay.
And the way our positions are set up right now, for the social work position, you have to be licensed by the State Board of Social Work
Yeah.
with a 4-year degree, so.
Right. But my point is, it's a lot easier to hire somebody full-time than it is to hire 2 part-time people. So it seems to me like it would make sense, instead of having these EWTs working part-time, if you need somebody to help you with social work, that you go find a licensed social worker and replace one of those girls with somebody that can do both. That's my.
And one of the things you may want to consider is a licensed social worker has to be paid at the minimum of that grade, where when you look at what you pay an EW tech, it's a lot less.
Okay.
Therefore, we staff with someone that we don't have to pay as much.
Okay.
If we, hopefully that makes a little sense there.
Well,
too.
I guess I wasn't paying attention to how big a difference there was between.
It's a lot.
Which goes to my main objection with this whole process, that someone other than the citizens of Griggs County get to determine how much these people are paid. And that's against the whole free market system. If someone wants to dictate to the citizens of Griggs County how much somebody be paid, then let them pay the wage. That's the problem. That's the fundamental problem I have with this thing.
Well,
I know I can't change it.
This is a microcosm of that whole system from the federal and state aid. That's exactly what happens. You don't have to take the state aid.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's like someone throwing you a life jacket out in the middle of the ocean. You don't have to.
And hopefully with this, when they go back into the next legislative session, that is what they're talking about, is picking up the administrative costs for our programs.
And I'm not saying that the citizens of Griggs County probably wouldn't pay just the same wage. It's the fact that they're mandated to do that that just bothers me till no end.
So bottom line, where we sit right now is there's a need for another social worker. I'm sorry, it's the work that is there needs to be done, and we're mandated to do it.
And I'm requesting just a 50% worker and the minimum amount.
we were with Nelson County, then there was one that went,
That deal went south.
that's, but I mean, that's,
Yeah, we
that's
had-
kind of what's created.
Right, no, I was trying to get that deal done, but that's, there's gonna have to be some more turnover up there before enough people that think.
It's a good idea.
Maybe one.
So what,
Well,
if everything goes as the legislature has set the
Depends on the resolution.
process in motion, what will be then for the Griggs County's taxpayers' responsibility in this whole thing in future budgets?
Basically, all would be like burying the people that are poor. And if they have different, like we do general assistance dollars, we talked to you about general assistance dollars, pay for basic needs, medicine, that kind of thing. We haven't approved any for a long time.
Probably a building, you know, I think they're just gonna pay the administrative costs, right?
Yeah.
Is that, yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean,
And then
that,
if there was somebody that was indigent and didn't have anybody to help pay for their burial, the county's obligated to do that.
They're talking about 100% of the salaries and benefits, is that what they're talking about?
That's my understanding.
And that's why that's where that dollar amount limit is coming from. They don't want counties to jack up the budget and then it's like, okay, now take this over.
that's why there's.
That's why 14 was the cutoff.
Yeah, I didn't know they were proposing that big of a change in that
Yes.
session.
I don't think it'll happen.
I don't think that big of one. I mean, maybe they'll take over 50% of it or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But that'll even muddy the water worse. You know, I don't know how they can do that.
It will.
Yeah, it should be all or nothing.
It'll make it more hateful than it is already.
Yeah. That would be a real risk.
So,
Okay. So personally, I'm fine with the added social worker, but I still have a problem with that. Fundamentally with the way that we do this.
well, I get it.
With the three of them that we added the 0.2.
Motion to approve?
I'd move to approve social services and welfare board budget for
Been moved by Dale to approve the county welfare board budget. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
No.
Dale?
Yeah.
Ron?
Yeah.
Sean?
Yes.
Troy votes aye. Motion carried. Okay. You just have one budget now?
Yes.
Yep. Thanks, Lois.
Cool.
Thanks for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Should we start from the beginning? Or Jamie, did you have anything that you
Is
wanted?
there a beginning now?
Yeah.
You got nothing, okay. So I think a lot of these can just be kind of
So you just
meshy.
want to whistle through them or what?
I would really like to just go really fast.
Okay.
Is this the last thing today?
Old courthouse, new courthouse, and then Travis has some stuff on the internet, phone, internet, and AC units.
Let's just do Travis right now.
Okay.
Last week, I requested from the auditor's office the last 4 months' phone bills. I was going to review them for just long distance charges, see if we could try to save some money. Probably using what's called a SIP provider or voice over IP. Since we have a new phone system in the courthouse, it's all digital, we could utilize that then. What I found though was what appeared to be an overpayment or doubling of the bill or something like that. I don't think it's as bad as I thought it was at first. I stopped and talked to Connie here right before I came up here, and she pulled some accounts for me. It looks like, right now, it looks like we've been overpaying for about 9 months. The general fund has the auditor's office and a few other departments in there for the phone bill, and that gets lumped up. And then we have the road, county agent, social service, and veteran office that gets put in. August was $1,600 for the phone bill. With that, I'm seeing 30 lines for that cost. Well, we don't have anywhere near that number of telephone lines here in the county and stuff like that. So, and we pulled, like I said, we pulled just the general account. And the last 9 months, it's been around that 1,600, 1,500, 1,400, 1,200, something like that. And then on 10/9, it drops down to 840. I think what happened, I still need to do some more. They added, when they were changing the fiber optic stuff, things were getting moved around accounts. I think the accounts got added but then didn't get removed. It's from what I'm seeing. I thought it was going back further than this. I thought it was a really major mess up, but it looks maybe around that 4,000 to 5,000 right now, just preliminary on that. But I'll get down to that for sure. I talked to, I think, Justin or maybe Jason at the phone company. He stated he found an error of $957.46, which will be credited, but I think there's more than that. So I'll get on that for sure. We have to pull more accounts to get exactly what's going on. But besides that, I still think we can save the county money on the phone bill. Since we have this new phone system in the new courthouse, every department now just has 1 or 2 lines themselves. They're the only ones that can use it. Well, with PBX, we can pool those into a trunk. And then when you pick up the line, you get the next one, inbound gets the next one, so forth. So that way our total number of phone lines can be reduced. Another option too is all outbound calls. Instead of going through MLGC for that, we can use SIP, voice over IP system for that. A voice over IP system, what they do is they charge a base rate on it. So it's billed per minute, but minimum of $100 per month for your use of it. Well, our average right now is about $140 per month for long distance charge. We could wipe that out. That'll pay for that $120, and then we would also gain the ability to have more than just 11 or 10. We could actually have 30 outgoing phone calls approximately right now with the system. So that's based on our internet speed. So we would program the phone system basically. When you pick up the phone in here, you don't use the 797 number. You go over the SIP over the internet. It gets connected as normal. We have 6,600 minutes to use a month then with that 1.7 cents a minute on that. What that provides too is Social Services has been having an issue where they only have 2 lines and they've been running into busy signals a lot. They've been calling me and saying, is this actually being used that much? Like, yeah, we're hitting that. People can't call in. You have 1 inbound and 1 outbound Social Services. Well, they use that up quite a bit, quite often. So, and then we also have a couple lines for the alarm system. But we pay, our base rate for just 1 line is $45.85 per month. Well, we could take those lines, if we had that SIP trunk, we could take those, get rid of those lines, plug that into our phone server, because our phone server has 4 outbound, like your actual tone dials. Plug the alarm system to that, they would dial out normal through the SIP trunk then too. So we'd be reducing that again. So, and then the
Did the
cost.
monitoring company call in on that then?
That's what I need to check though too. Like if they need to actually dial in, yes they could. Because what we can do then.
Because they do need to.
Okay, yeah. So what we would do then.
Does.
Yeah. What we would do then. So with the SIP trunk, that $100 per month, that's your base rate, and then for every DID or actual phone number, it's $1 per month.
Okay.
So we would just get.
You just sign the number.
Sign the number. There's your dedicated number. We program it in the phone to go to that trunk then. So now what we need to do though, we need internet for that phone system to do that. When I talked to the state, they want to put us on a DMZ zone, meaning that server is not actually on the state's network. They charge a $150 setup fee and then $50 a month to do that. I don't think $50 a month is reasonable for that, I guess, in my opinion. But I mean, the other option then too is just getting another ISP and then plug your phone server into that, I guess. You're still be about that same price though, because Midco or the internet is around that $60 a month too.
I'm surprised we don't have a DMZ set up for something else already.
Well, we would talk about that for the public internet. So if we did that $50 for the phone, that would also work with the public internet. So that $50 would cover both aspects of that feature if we want to do it. That's still being said though, that $50 with that $120, but $130 for the phone with all the fees and stuff like that, we're still going to be saving quite a bit of money because we can start taking, instead of using 14 or 15 phone lines, we can get that down. I'm thinking around probably 8 is a reasonable number to do.
$40 a piece.
$43 a piece. Then on top of that, there's a $5 for caller ID. So it's usually about $50 per line. Just for in most offices, about half the offices have caller ID. So we probably want to still keep with that for the whole trunk line. And once we switch that over to, since it's a digital system now, we can actually get reports on it. So what's the actual percentage utilization of those 8 lines? Are we actually, are we sitting at 40% utilization? So let's take off 2 lines. Are we sitting at 80% or 90% utilization? Like, oh, let's bump up 1 line. We can make better decisions as far as, and those would just be inbound lines. And so that's just people calling the phone or calling the courthouse itself. And then what I would like to do, instead of having a line for auger, a line for, it's one phone number, 6 lines attached to it, or 4 lines, whatever it is. And then he calls in, press 1 for the auger, press 2, it's the announcement system, and like you usually see everywhere else. And that way you can start bunching everything together, and then it's a better utilization of the whole system then too, so.
So the incoming lines aren't dependent on the outgoing lines?
Correct, they're separate. So we're reducing the bill, and then we're gaining ability to make a lot more outbound calls. Right now, for us to do a conference call with anybody, you can only do up to outbound calls anywhere, because that's the limitation of the physical lines. With this system, like I said, it's based on your internet upload speed, and the state would then, with that DMZ, they would actually do they would guarantee traffic on that line then. So we would do like 1 or 2 megs per second. That would give us about 20 to 30 simultaneous phone calls going outbound then for that system then. So, which we're not gonna, that's gonna be so rare we're gonna do that. And that's, since it's just per minute basis.
Everybody'd have to have 2 phones.
So I think we can, I thought this was going back a couple of years, like doing this much. I was quite concerned with this, but the last report I just pulled from Connie, it looks like 9 months is when this mistake happened. Okay. I will confirm that next week. We'll get with the phone company. We'll get this sorted out for sure. But we should. Right now, they said they were getting a credit of almost $950. I'm thinking that $4,500 might be the correct number right now, I guess. But,
okay.
I guess for you guys, just a decision to make is that SIP trunk what we want to pursue for setting that up eventually. If we do that, do we go with the state's DMZ zone, or do we ask for a waiver to get our own ISP in the building for that? So
that brings up another question that was asked before a long time ago. As far as filters on the internet, as far as what the employees can get on, not that we just trust the employees, but it puts the county at tremendous risk.
It's potential risk inadvertently, and then we see that a lot with all the other companies. It's just because you're not intended to go that, but you might mistype something. That happens a lot.
But you don't get to set those firewall settings, do you, Travis?
That's not on the state, but I can add in between that. We can do content filtering, meaning we could put a machine in there or a piece of equipment that before it goes to the state, we look at that packet, say no, that we're not going to allow that. Okay. And then it goes on. So we have the ability to do that.
So it's a different appliance than a firewall.
Exactly.
I mean, we do it through our firewall.
Yeah, and firewalls do that. They usually, when you're talking firewalls, it's firewall content filtering. Mm-hmm. The state only does firewall. Well, they do content filtering to an extent. They do pornographic a little bit, and a few other things, known malicious sites. But it's pretty much open with the county. They're giving us a pipe.
And that's just not.
I mean, because of all the social networking stuff, that's
all open.
The bad guys are hanging out there constantly, you know.
And their argument with that is like, well, that might be needed for the sheriff's department to do research or investigations, you know. And that's where, if we were doing our own content filtering, we could do overrides then. So, like, say if the sheriff's department did need to go on Facebook for reviewing a case, their credentials would be in there. Like, they would go to Facebook and like, okay, Wes Straight logged in Facebook, and then he has to be accountable for like, why were you there? Yep. I was doing case. So if we did review or pull log, he's like, why were you on there? Why were you on the state system, on our what we were paying for? So.
And before you allow access, you have each department give you a list of sites they need to visit, and those are the only sites that need to be visited. And that's public knowledge then. And if you want to visit another site, you have to have that on.
You whitelist.
Yep.
There's two approaches: blacklist with just allow everything else, or blacklist everything and just have whitelist for just what you want. Then.
Right. A whitelist is the best, you know. And then blacklist, of course, the no one got sites. Yeah. There's just a tremendous risk that the county's been put out here by allowing a wide open source.
Like I said, it's not necessarily, it's not intentional with employees. It's just that's how a lot of malicious code gets into networks, is because somebody's going someplace, they're searching for something for whatever that's not computer. It could be where even if it's actually business related and they type something wrong, wrong URL, all of a sudden you went to a different website. That happens. There's places that they try to get URLs that look like banks URLs, and it's like one letter off or something like that, and it looks just like the bank, so you put your information in and they have your login and password then.
So. Being generous, I end up on websites I shouldn't end up on all the time. It wasn't my accident.
And then there's that as well. So that's something we could review too, as far as if we want, and we can always put that appliance in no matter what we're doing at any time. That's just in between our equipment and the state's equipment, that one cable that links to them, so.
Because, I mean, even the sheriff's department, if they needed to go on Facebook, they could do it on one of their Verizon computers.
Well, yeah, that's just it. So they have means for it, and you know, like with those systems too. I can't.
Because the nice thing about a cell phone connection is it's not open all the time.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a static IP, it's always out there.
Yeah. And I try to make, you know, I can't force everyone to like anybody who has a laptop. If you're on any other network, you VPN back into the state. That's the best practice for everything, because then you're going through their system for the little bit more security they do provide for that. But
right. But that VPN software is slow.
It's yeah, exactly. It slows down. You're having to do multiple things. So, but for the sheriff's department, for instance, they are always on the VPN because their laptops, for them to get access to the systems that are actually needed for their patrol, that's on the state's network that is going through a special VPN. That's actually mandated by the FBI because it actually accesses CJIS, or Criminal Justice Information System.
Should be.
So,
but then that would develop a log so that it would be common knowledge who was on there when.
Yep, we would be able to implement that where we have, if we want to review what every department was doing, what was going on, if there's actually a breach, or it would definitely add a significant layer of protection to the county's infrastructure.
Do we have intrusion detection software?
The state does. So the state
push it down to this level?
Not to the computer level. So what happens is, you know, we're not like your home network. Like you connect through a router and you're actually on the internet already. We connect to the DCN backbone, so we're on a private network all the way to the state, which is Bismarck and Fargo as the two hubs, and then we go out on the internet. And that's where the actual firewall and then intrusion detection system is implemented on. So, and the state does monitor like our network for if there's a funky activity or suspicious activity. And we actually had one of the HP printers here last week decided to do 100,000 or 10,000 requests for DNS requests every second. We were flooding the DNS query. Well, we found out that's a firmware error in HP's systems where they were doing that. We're just flooding the network with DNS requests. So they do help a little bit monitoring our stuff, but it's really it's not nowhere near what actual content filtering would do then. So.
Okay, that's my question.
I think Travis's question is, what do we do going forward? I mean, that content filtering, that's a different question for another day. Do you guys want to go with the voice over IP outgoing telephone lines and reduce the number of incoming lines in a new system, or how do you want to move forward? Because he needs to know that before he gets too far down the trail.
What do you recommend?
Well, it sounds like it's going to be cheaper and more capable. I don't know I don't know what the downside would be.
Sorry, I know that Travis and I had been talking about this, but I just had a question. With all of these like departments having their stuff like split out, like VSO and all that stuff, would that still be able to be done if we have like where you call in to one number and then it's press 1 for this and press 1 for that?
What the difference would be then we would have just one bill coming to the county all the time. I'm assuming we just bill it to the auditor, so we would get rid of each end of the others. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now that are split out, or maybe more. So one bill has all the lines on it. There shouldn't be any long distance on there anymore. I mean, the system will go through the internet at all times. But one thing that it's programmed to do, 911 calls will always go through the 797 numbers because we want to make sure we hit that. E911, which is through the SIP provider, it will be set up with the proper address, but it just for convenience and ease, we just like to go through the 797 numbers. So we have other clients that do the same thing that we're just setting up here. So that's just programmed to say emergency lines use these trucks for them then. So if 911 is called within the courthouse, it uses that. Say for instance, a fluke, the SIP provider goes down, meaning there is no outbound calls. It's very rare, but it might happen. The system would then fail over to the trunks. So they would fail over the landlines for outbound calls then. So that would be their second choice. So that's when we might incur some long distance charges on that. But right now we pay for each line, we pay, some of them, not all of them, we pay $5 for North Dakota long distance and then per minute of 10 cents. So, I mean, these $5 add up quite quickly when you start talking quite a few lines here. So, So I believe what we can do is get that reduced where we have some long distance, but it's just, there is no North Dakota, just when, if it's used, it just get billed out, so.
Is there a big setup cost, labor cost to do this?
No, the fees are gonna be, the state wants $150 to set up that DMZ zone and then $50 per month. My time really is not gonna be much because the phone system's ready to go.
Right.
So it's hooked up. So we can actually start utilizing this already for the Sheriff's Department, or Social Services and State's Attorney's Office because they're on the new system already. So we could, like, SIA is about $212, about $80 to $70 of that is long distance every month.
Right.
That almost already pays for that SIP trunk already just with their account alone. So getting that switched over right now would start benefiting and start cost saving. The major cost saving when everybody's over in the courthouse, then we can start trunking it down to one. What I would like to do, I got to talk to the phone company about this too. You know, we don't want to, you know, we can't publish our new number now because we're already past the phone book deadline. I think that was last month or month before that. So what I would like to do, if I'm assuming this is all be, from what I've talked to them already, it's capable. So we would get a new number, and then we would just add those 6 trunks to that, and then we would just take all our other numbers and forward them to that one number. And we would do that for about probably a year and a half, whatever we still see fit to make sure that the public is aware of the new phone numbers. We can, advertise that in the paper, get it in the phone book next year, and so forth. So. And that way, at least, we're not just, somebody calls and like, well, why is nobody answering anymore? We're not just, we can actually give them some time to switch it over then. So we'll have a little bit, that year and a half, where we're paying not a lot less, but less, and then we can significantly reduce down that bill then. So, but that's depending on what they charge for forwarding. That's why I haven't got that information yet. Like if they charge us per line to forward it over, then we'd have that. But if not, we should be able to dump that down quite a bit here next few months. So.
If we had to, we could send out a magnet to everybody in the county.
And still save money, yeah.
If they were going to be mean to us on the forwarding deal.
Yeah.
Everybody could put it on their fridge. I mean, 97% of the county doesn't call here.
It's up on this product. And that's just it too, is like right now you'd have to physically go through all these reports unless they would give us a digital copy and review this stuff. The new phone system, if you guys wanted to report, give me a day's notice, we can generate the report. This is all the calls for social services, this is all the calls for the sheriff's department, this is all the calls for the auditor, this is how much, who they called, how many minutes, and so forth. That also goes inbound and outbound. We'd be able to analyze that. So we even have a couple companies, they want that report generated monthly. We've written scripts that I'll generate that and email them out to them. So that's the nice thing about being in a digital world. You have that ability. So. I don't see much cost for me setting it up. It's going to be dealing with the phone company. It's going to be the biggest unknown as far as how easy or difficult that will be. The programming of the trunk line, really simple, straightforward, something like that. Getting the call system programmed. So I might get some 4 to 5 hours for that. So $4,500 to get it set up. And then top that $150 for the state. So, but unless we don't want to do the state's DMV, to go with something else. But at that point, that's our only option, I guess. So we have to get a waiver if we got a different ISP in. So. And then the SIP trunk too, depending on the term of contract, there's different setup fees for 12-month, 24-month, and then a 3-year is free setup then for it. So, but it's not much. I don't think I'm gonna get a copy of it too. But I mean, the offset of cost would recoup rather quickly and all that stuff. So.
I'm going to motion to remind Travis to move forward again with the SIP trunk.
Been moved by John that we have authorized Travis to move ahead with the SIP trunk phone system for the new courthouse. Or second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
John? Aye. Troy votes aye. Motion carried. Okay.
Great. Wireless link or internet link for the county shop. Right now, we are using a point-to-point DSL system. That's another thing I found in the phone, that we were actually being charged for 5 pair rents, and we only should be 2. The pair rents are about $17 a month each. So I think that's an overcharge as well. Justin or Jason, when I talked to him today, he said he hasn't for sure confirmed that yet. But I have nowhere other place we're using cable pair rents. So, but what I would like to do is use a wireless relay system from our courthouse to the county shop using the city water tower for that then. I think I sent Samantha an invoice for the equipment yesterday. That was at $2,900. I'm estimating the total project between $55,000 and $6,000 to do that. A little bit of relay there because I'm not certain exactly what equipment we need at the water tower to get that done. What we would save then is that, those 2 $17 lines. Another thing too is the phone company is no longer going with copper anymore. They're going with fiber optics. So they would no longer support that line. And I kind of really didn't get a definitive answer if they would just let us use it indefinitely or what would happen. But that equipment has actually been here since before I was here. So I came in 2005. So it's getting quite old for that. But
what does the county shop need?
Wayne, so what we would do then with that is with this link, we'd be able to do the phone system like we have here at the courthouse. He would have an extension just like us. And then he has a desktop and a laptop for all their work. So email, looking up like any mechanical stuff now, most of it's online. So if you need to go look at schematics or spreadsheets or anything like that for...
I don't know, but does he need to connect to our server?
Yeah, we should. So
why?
His file systems are here as well. Anything stored, any digital, any stuff he has is stored on our server for backing up then. So. And then we would lose his phone number. Then would come over here, so we'd lose that $43 a month or $50 a month. On top of that, the two trunk lines. So we would save about on the monthly fees probably around. So what is that again?
$89.
Yeah, somewhere around there. So I mean that would start offsetting this cost over the long run on that. This significantly increases the speed for AMP2. That's one of the issues we have over there.
5 years to recoup that up.
So what would it cost us to set up a VPN tunnel?
So we'd have to get internet connection over there. So you're talking about that $60 a month for that. The state requires about, I think it's, I'm trying to remember, is it $8 per device to do just it's not concurrent VPN, it's just like if I have a laptop VPN, I think it's $8 per month for that, somewhere on there. And then he would have the full capability because like his printer, he'd have to use USB to connect to it, to print to it. So right now it's a network-based one, so both computers can print to it. So there'd be a little more setup, little changes. I mean, it's not like it's a big network over there, so it's definitely not all well doing, I guess.
Right.
And then the state doesn't like us having other ISPs in the courthouse. I don't know if they would buck about having it at the county shop too, because if we had to get an ISP in here, we had to go through a waiver process, what they call it. I'm not sure how easy or how difficult that is if they actually ever approve them for something like that too. So.
Well, what they like and what we do are 2 different things.
I agree with you. In my opinion,
Would they force that traffic to go to Bismarck and come back?
Yes. So you're still coming in on our external connection. So we're going to be loading that up more. So we might force us to get a faster connection there sooner than needed as well. So you're kind of offsetting that around. So because right now we have a 10 meg connection, and we're and the nightly backups offset that. We're pushing 50% right now for utilization. Not bad. I mean, it's not 10 megs is not the fastest out there, but it works for what we're doing right now. We do have the ability to go to 15 meg connection. That's the next step up.
I think I have that at home.
I have 200 megs, and I'm going to be going to 1,000 here when we go over, and that's significantly less than here. But it's all different because it's a state mandate. It's internal trunking and stuff like that. But the next step up, so going from 10 to 50 megs, I believe is around 400 per month addition. What we're doing already for that, so it's a fair amount to start eating up again if we want to do that. But I mean, eventually probably we'll have to go to that. I mean, more and more systems are online. you know, we've been switching a lot of stuff over to the state system network and stuff like that too, so, but. I had that planned for review in the 2015 budget, I guess, to see what kind of utilization we're doing if we need to move that faster, so.
So we might as well spend the money in-house to get that connection, I suppose. How
Life expectancy?
Yeah.
10 years is very reasonable, before like any worries about it. The same equipment I've had in place, other locations that are actually doing backhauls for IP-based cameras, my parents' house being one of them. We've been pushing 8 IP cameras over the network for 6 years now. With the thing is too, the equipment's not that expensive, so each access point or each wireless device is $180. So you know the cost is really this, just the time of getting wired up, getting the mount set up, climbing the tower, climbing everything else like that. And say a radio does go out, you know you're talking probably $300-400 bill for equipment, labor, something like that. So, and they're not. So the nice thing about them, they're not super expensive where it becomes such a headache to try to replace something. So.
What's the range on that for the wireless deal?
So what we're doing is we're doing a point here to the tower, then we're going to have equipment there, then another point down to the county shop. That equipment itself is rated for about 10 kilometers for the point-to-point stuff like that. Line of sight, meaning no trees, nothing in the way. So the signal quality, we would have no problem with that. Even in heavy rains, we wouldn't have to have an issue. We have plenty of power for connectivity on that. So. And then we're looking at, this is the 5 gigahertz AC standard. So we can actually get, it's rated at 931 megabits per second. So I think Wayne's connection right now is a few megs right now, if that, if we get sometimes. We've had issues where it drops too, because the equipment is just old, plug it and plug it back in. But,
well, if he's on copper.
It's twisted pair with, I mean, the new twisted pair DSL systems can get quite a bit more, I mean, more speed, but this thing, I don't, like I said, it was here when I came in 2005.
But he's not running at 48K.
No, it's still DSL, so you're still getting, I think he's about a meg and a half, stuff like that, so it's still, it's slow for what he's trying to do, and if we wanted to do the phones at his location, it would suffice for it. This would most definitely suffice then, so. But yeah, that $2,890 invoice I submitted, that's for just the equipment I know for sure we need, and then once we get everything installed, wire ends, all that stuff, the final bill will be actually used equipment for what I know. I wanted to put that one, push it in at 55 to 6, just because I'm not quite certain it's at the water tower. So, and this is also, if you guys approve this or want to go forward with this, I would tentatively have a scheduled meeting with the city of Cooperstown on the 3rd. To get permission to put more equipment. I mean, we already have equipment there. It's just going through the proper channels to make sure they approve us doing this.
You gotta have a permit or how?
No, just permission. Just the city saying you can use our equipment. Because right now we have the sheriff's radio relay system there. I would just request that we would add additional equipment, that they're aware of it. And I don't see any issues with it, I guess. I don't think they would ever make a fuss about it, but I still need to go through that channel before we actually start installing it. But
okay.
That says 200 or 2,890.
Yeah, the reason I sent that too is, you know, getting late in the year, if we want to go with this, I would try to get it fast tracked so we can get approved first, barring the city's permission. Then once the city permission, I would order the equipment and get it installed as soon as I can.
Okay.
So,
what are your wishes, fellers?
There's no, for that kind of thing, I don't know, we didn't put anything in the budget, is there anything in the budget for that?
I'd have to look at this.
I don't think so.
see, I'm not sure how much of this could come out of my IT budget for this year. I'm not sure where I'm setting at. I don't think the full thing cost could, I guess, but
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think so.
so I think we got a little bit left. We only bought 2 computers this year, I think. So that $5,000 line item for new computers, I believe there's some left in there.
What were you using the Dell last payment money for again?
We bought backup equipment for that. And there's money in that account yet too, I believe. We didn't use the full amount on there. I'm just not certain how much is in that. We could max that budget out and whatever's in there apply to it because we're not gonna buy any more of that line item. And then just that new computer line item too. We could, as long as there's no other failures the next few months. That's the question, I guess. But
It looks like they spent 47,000 through the first 8 months.
and that's kind of a little different because you know we have a big lump payment in January. So that kind of offsets your actually if you're trying to do a percentage per month kind of thing.
And so you're saying there's 27,000 left in your budget.
Oh, okay.
So you're saying you probably would not go over budget.
I highly doubt that. Even so, that would give us down to that. Let's just say 6,000 for doing a high number on that. So it gives us 21.
I do want to look into that Dell last payment because it doesn't look like I've taken anything out of that, so I'm wondering if
Oh, you should have taken that was that. How much was that now? That was the new backup server we put in play, and then the software for them.
so we'll have to try and look into that to see where it got taken out of.
I mean, we have all that 21. We still have the ITV monthly bill for internet, which is that $600 a month. I'm sure
There's 10,000 in this for state WAN.
Yep. So
there's 10,000 in the budget, so it must be $900.
$900 something on there then. So
GovernSoft is 1,000.
I think that GovernSoft is that paid just up front in January. Okay.
I guess if we're not going to go over the budget, I don't have any problem with it. That's just my opinion.
I don't know what other budget line item we can take it out of too if it's considered new courthouse because the copper is coming into the old courthouse right now and there is nothing over the new one. That's why we had that wired between the aerial ones here.
Right.
It comes over here and goes over the lane. So
But even if we had to amend the budget at the end of the year, if we're going to do it, we might as well do it now before it gets cold out.
yeah, that number would go up quite a bit if I'm doing it in December. So
I'm inclined to wait. It's not as cost savings like the other one was.
no, that's it, Trump. And that I guess I don't have an end date on the phone company when they're not going to support the copper line too. When I work with them, I'll try to get that date yet, but they've told me that it's coming. Just that since they're moving everything to fiber, they're not going to support copper anymore. So, and I think it was Tyler, the VP of MLGC. He kind of verbally gave me approximately $1,000 per month for getting a fiber optic pair between the courthouse and the county shop. So.
But this will be required to get Wayne on the.
We have to do something eventually for Wayne to be on.
Well, he's on there now. I mean, he's got computer access now.
Yeah, it's through that point-to-point DSL
Right,
system
yeah.
that
Just so.
eventually be going by the wayside and MLGC no longer supports it, but
Might be 5 years.
Yeah.
I would say within 2. So
Maybe MLGC will be obsolete by then. Maybe technology changes.
especially if we're
We don't
switching
know.
SIP trunks, they might get mad at us too. So,
Right.
but
But it won't. I mean, if we moved over to the courthouse tomorrow, it wouldn't affect Wayne then.
yes, we would have to still maintain a connection here so we can hook Wayne up to the internet.
So it isn't an imminent deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys want to wait till next budget cycle? Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to add it in now.
Okay.
And
Cool.
then the last item on is
Do we need to add it into the budget then?
I guess I didn't know, so
What's that?
Nothing. Nothing.
the 5,500 to 6,000 for the wireless link.
If he wants to do it in 2017, it should be in next year's budget. Or do you guys just want to put it on hold for indefinitely?
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Wait, Gene, anymore, till they tell us, and you're not gonna say, okay, tomorrow that connection's gone, they're gonna say you've got 6 months or a year or something.
Well, I'll try to get an end date from them when I'm working with them on the phone bill, so we have, we can start planning that then, so.
Okay.
And last item, AC unit. You know, last winter we had some issues with the current AC unit in the server room. When we were working with Craft Architect, I sent over the actual specifications for build one unit system that exhausts on either outside or inside, depending on their standard server unit, AC unit, stuff like that. From what we're gathering is she thought that was too expensive and just put this split unit in. Well, even with the cold weather kit on those things, they're not designed to go down to 30 below. So the compressor outside shuts off and we no longer have cold air on the split unit and inside. Server room overheats. I get a warning message. We got to put a fan in, open the door. Opening the door to the public, it's not a good idea to have anyone just walking into your server room being able to grab anything if there was any ill effects. But so I had Schultz Plumbing look at what they could do. We're trying to reduce the cost as much as possible, not having to spend a bunch on some elaborate system. We came up with the idea of putting getting another second split unit and putting the condenser unit that usually goes outside, putting that in the sally port or the garage area of the new courthouse. And then what we would do with the two AC units, we would just stagger them for winter and summertime use. So in the wintertime, we'd use the indoor unit. The heat from that compressor would be blown into the sally port, which is that area is shared with the comm room and then the commissioner's room or the multi-purpose room. So we're not just wasting that heat air outside. And then what we would do with the outdoor unit, we would just set it a few degrees higher. So if that unit inside fails, that one it would be a backup for that basically. And then vice versa. Summertime, we'd be dumping the heat out to the outdoor unit. The unit that's in the sally port would be a few degrees higher. So if the unit outside fails, shuts off, that unit would kick in for backup then. So, and I believe you have a copy of that in your packet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's your low and high end temperature concerns?
We have the system set up right now. I believe it notifies me at 85 or 80 degrees and then 85 degrees. It starts freaking out on that. It doesn't take too long for that room to heat up within a couple hours. For once we lose air conditioning.
And when you put the fan in there, it cools it off?
Not to the extent where we want. It's not ideal, but it's okay. So another option would be, like I said too, is if we put some kind of ducting or fan system in there. The labor, I haven't actually priced it out, so we haven't actually got a professional come in there. My thought on that was we have to move quite a bit of air to keep that isolated and cooled. I'm just not certain like where we can dump it, where we can pull it from, stuff like that, I guess. But
How about the low end temperature?
we usually like to keep the server rooms around 68 for that then. So it gives a little bit of time for if we have started heat to rise up, it's not just straight away. And then, like I said, we have the alarm system kick off. Right now, I get that. I notify the sheriff's department is the one my point of contact for that information. So, like I said, all we've done is open the door and put a fan in it, and it maintains. I guess I can look back at well, no, I can't. We have that unit went out. We could look at that what it actually does, but it's not ideally the temperature we want. So. Because you're bringing in 75 or 76 degree or whatever it is, ambient temperature, and trying to force it in. Servers heat that up, then so you still get pretty good temperature rise from it.
But maybe I'm all screwed up. But the compressor isn't going to work when we have 40 below outside air temperature.
Correct.
Yeah. Why are we worrying about cooling it off with inside air? Why don't we cool it with outside air?
The condensation issue with that. So the equipment to do that, to take the condensation out, the air exchangers. I guess that is an option. You'd have to be pulling a pretty significant volume of air. We could definitely take a look at it. I can ask Schultz to look into it.
A big exhaust fan in reverse, and dump the cold air. Dump the cold air into the system.
And then you have to exhaust it somewhere too. Then so you're
you put a cold air or a cold air return, so to speak, in the floor somewhere, and let the overall courthouse
absorb
take it out. There. Okay. I don't know. That's if it was my equipment at my office and that's what's happening, and rather than spend $6,000, I'd try to spend $500 and do that. But who knows? And you can put it on a thermostat. You could put the exhaust fan in the thermostat. When it gets to 85 degrees, it comes on.
So the question would be like, where can we? Getting the ducting into that room and the exhaust system in that room to pull it in.
Well, ducting is easy because it's false seal.
False seal. Well,
yeah.
So heat's your biggest concern,
Yeah.
not getting too cold.
Well, too cold is a concern too.
But that's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, let's say your thermostat's stuck on and start dumping cold air in constantly. We have alarms that will do that too, so we have our high and our low. And then the servers themselves too, if they get too low, they'll shut themselves off as well, so they're not operating in a too hot or too cold environment. So
I mean, you just decided to control it. I mean, it's just the same system as a air exchanger in a house.
yeah,
The same thing,
same principle.
except just bypass the exchange part of it. And they do a lot of air. I mean, a lot of air, they're not very expensive. But
Would you like me to look into that?
I don't know, there's so much maintenance involved with putting a whole other cooling system in there. And I mean, the initial cost is high, but just the upkeep on them is gonna be high too. I mean, that's.
What rooms are around there?
There's a utility room to the left, and then the DES's office is to the right, and then to the north is the evidence storage room from that.
So you could dump it in the utility room real easy, isn't it?
You'd still be deadheading. I mean, we would have to dissipate a fair amount of air, quite a few CFM. So it would have to go into the general courtroom, I guess, or courthouse, I guess. So whether you would put a vent in the wall that's in the hallway to dissipate that cold air or that air, I guess.
Well, I mean, you could put a grate in both doors, dump the air into that utility room, and then it'll come out into the hallway. I mean, I just think that's craziness.
Yeah, you can. I mean, if you didn't want
you could go buy a rack for $2,000, move all that stuff into a rack, and leave the door open all the time. Have it locked up. I mean,
yeah, I know.
The rack at our banks, it was $2,000. I bought it, and it's sitting in the basement. People walk by it every day when they're going to the bathroom, but it's locked. So I don't know. That's just nuts. Your fault.
Yeah, I mean, this would have been all solved if the correct AC unit was put in the first place. So it just kind of it's concerning as far as overheating. Make sure we catch that if it does happen.
Well, you can't have all that stuff in that little tiny room and not have cooling in there.
Yeah,
I know that.
Another option we probably might look into. It's basically for augmenting. So I mean, this unit does for the most part. It has a cold weather temp, and I think it's rated for like 15 below or 10 below maybe or something like that. So it does for the most part cool in the winter time, but just when we get a really cold airs, they have those little portable split, little plug-in 110 outlets, something like that. That might be enough to just maintain it in case there's an issue, I guess. We just have to duct in, like just put ducts in the hallway or in the wall itself that would blow and suck that air for circulation then. And those you can get for a good one for about $1,000, I would think. So
wow. I've never seen a portable deal.
Yeah, and it's not going to be the same rated for cooling,
right?
But it would at least be there for. It would catch. It wouldn't be such a high increase.
But I mean, this thing is 2 ton. A ton is 16,000 BTUs. You don't have 16,000 BTUs of heat generation in there. Otherwise,
I think what the reason why they do for the higher rating of 2 tons is the tonnage increase also helps offset the temperature when it's on the low end. So the bigger tonnage machines will work a little bit colder than the smaller tonnage because it starts compensating to my.
Well, I don't imagine they make a split unit that's less than 2 tons.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not. So it's kind of
So that's the reason it is what that's probably the smallest one you can buy.
Yeah.
It's like trying to buy a 15,000 BTU propane furnace. You can't. Yeah. There's no such thing.
But that might be an option too, just buy one of those portable units just for when it actually does shut off. I guess my concern is I don't know if it's actually damaging or causing damage to the split unit when it shuts off, when it gets that cold out.
Well, hopefully they got, their safety equipment should.
I can ask Schultz about that, as what if any damage is happening when it's that cold too. So.
No, the pressure
differentiates, kicks off and then shuts down. Yeah. That's my knowledge of what happens when it gets too cold.
Because I think those heat pump compressors have
Just like a heat pump in your house, I mean, when it's too cold, it shuts off because the pressure gets too high and it
Can't maintain that.
Yeah.
Well, mine has an external thermostat on it too. But okay, well, let's keep looking for a more cost-effective solution.
I mean, like I said, we keep an eye on it. We have alarm systems that go off when there's issues.
Well, and if the thing was inhabited 24 or every day, it would help.
Well, the issue would be at night, because that's when you get your chilliest temperatures. That's usually when it goes off, and I think I had a 2 a.m. call one time, so it's a little annoying, I guess. So,
But if nobody's in the courthouse, it's going to be locked anyway.
well, the sheriff's department is my point of contact for that. So
What's that?
the sheriff's department is the point of contact for that. So
Right, but my point is, if it was going to be 27 below at night, and the last person out the door that locked the door, the external door, they could kick the door open and put a wedge under it.
you know, that might be a best practice, but we just start doing that. It's like
I mean, realistically, nobody's going to break into the courthouse.
If you break into the courthouse, you can break into the server room.
Right.
It's one less door out of everything. So
Right.
it just during the day and sometimes it shuts it.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it night for that stuff anyway.
Oh, for Pete's vendors.
I think as far as the SIP trunk, should I get the contract? Should we get that signed right now? I guess I have a copy that's just not filled out yet. So we can move forward with it, or do you want me to get it filled out and just send it to you for?
Who's the contract with?
Sotel Systems is a company I recommend for SIP trunking. I use them for my phone company. We have quite a few other companies that do it. We've had really good luck with their service.
What's their role?
So they're the terminating company. So they'll take our SIP internet traffic, and they're the ones that are actually billing us for hooking us up into the actual phone network. Then.
Oh,
So
so they handle the voice over IP.
Yep. So they're their phone company. They're just their digital phone company. So they use all SIP instead of actual physical landlines. Then so.
Well, we voted to move ahead.
Yeah. I guess, if we can get it signed, then I can get moving forward with it too. So, and then do you want to do a 36-month contract? Then the only difference is, so 12 months is a $100 setup fee, 24 months is $50 setup fee, 36 months is waived, no setup fee. So.
Well, we're not going to not have phones over there.
Yeah.
Unless we don't have it over there.
Huh?
As long as we got it over there, yeah.
And then I'm not sure, we can do credit card or ACH. I'm assuming it's ACH probably. So I can talk to Connie about the account if you want to do that. Okay. I think it was 1 page signature, or 2. And then I guess what I was thinking of doing is getting 4 DIDs. Just they're $4 a month. That'd be one for the alarm system, and then there's you need one for sure, and then I have 3 additional ones, one for the alarm and just 2 kind of whatever we need. If we need to allocate something, we can do it then. It's $1 per month for the ID. So
okay.
Oh, I mean, I can speed up this budget process or two real quick if we want to get to it.
About 27 items.
Well, I mean, I've got notes for it over the last time.
I'll send this to you
Nothing's changed.
before I just send it down to confirm it, and then this is just the agreement to that we're not doing it legal.
So this needs to be signed here?
Yeah, just if you want to think, or maybe I'm doing it wrong. No, that's just David. No, that's not right. Yeah, well, it just is 1 page, like always. So, last one. So we'll see that change in savings right away here with social services, state's attorney,
Okay.
and then sheriff's department. So
Sounds good.
So that'll start augmenting right away. So.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I think I'm good.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Travis.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Budget
budget.
Budget.
And speed this up some, I have notes from last time I went over it, so I can just lump them all together if you want. Everything go on. Okay. So if you go to page B7, B8, B9, B10, there's a change. We dropped the travel went to $500 on the treasurers. That's the only change from last time.
B9 too.
B9 also, that's right. State's attorney's same, recorder's the same, tax director's the same. Custodian, we haven't changed anything. We're still leaving additional wages of $5,000. So, those are all the same as the last meeting when we went over them. I would make a motion that we allow or ratify those departments. Okay, those departments' budgets.
It's been moved by John to approve the county commissioner's budget, the district court, the auditor, treasurer, state's attorney, recorder, tax director, and custodian budgets. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. General expenses, is that your next one then, John? 15?
That's Ron, I'll probably have to take that one, change there.
Yeah, the only one was on the reserve. It was 170,000 and I lowered it to 110,000. And the only reason is just so that we can levy less this year than we did last year. You know, on the comparison page, last year we levied 1,965, and if we would have kept it the same, then we'd be levying up over $2 million. So I lowered it to 110, and we're showing we'd be levying 1,953,000 now. So,
And that would have invoked a meeting with the public in order to okay that.
what's that?
That would have invoked a meeting with the public in order to okay that.
Yeah.
We would have broke the zero net increase.
Yeah.
I thought the zero net increase was mills.
It's sort of
It's both. But it falls back to actual gross dollars.
Okay.
And when you go through it and read it, it actually falls back to gross dollars.
That's a screwed up formula.
Okay.
I believe that's the only one change in there, so I would move to approve the general expenses as submitted.
I'll second it.
Moved by Ron, seconded by Sean to approve the general expenses as presented. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All John?
Aye.
Dale? Ron?
Aye.
John? Aye. Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Just about. Now we've jumped around so much, I don't know where we're at.
B16.
Where do you want?
B16.
Yep. No changes from last time.
Social Security?
Right, Social Security. Information technology, there was no changes either, was there, Ron?
We already approved that one.
Yeah, you
Did
already.
we approve that already?
Yeah,
Well,
approved that one.
you didn't make a motion on that one.
Right.
Oh, okay.
That was before.
Okay. Okay, and insurance. So in Social Security, information technology, and insurance reserve, or insurance, can all be lumped together. And there are no changes in any of those. So I make a motion, we approve Social Security, information technology, and the insurance.
Been moved by John that we approve Social Security, information technology, and the insurance budget. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dave. Sean?
Okay.
Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carried.
Same with the sheriff. We
Sure,
didn't-
that's already been.
we voted on it?
Yep.
Yep.
Very good. So the coroner and the DES, do we vote on
DS
the
has already been voted on.
We need the coroner.
Yep.
Superintendent of schools,
Superintendent of schools.
courtroom grant, transfers. No. Do I need to do that?
No, yeah, well, the courtroom grant, we did add IT expense possibly.
Yeah.
That $10,000 that we just put in.
That we put into it.
They
So
put in.
it's changed a little bit, but.
The courtroom grant might pay for some of that stuff that Travis was just talking about too.
We pretty much have that one maxed out right now.
No, this is the new one.
The new one.
The one that
You gotta apply.
Kelly was
for-
talking about today, that we have to do.
You gotta apply for application before 31st
Oh,
of December.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
so
Understand.
why don't you ask Kelly, or ask Travis to get with Kelly and have her see if she can include that, some of it into the program.
Okay.
So the coroner, superintendent of schools, courtroom grant are what we need then be. How to make a motion to approve the courtroom, the superintendent of schools and the courtroom grant as presented.
Moved by John to approve what? Courtroom grant?
Yeah, superintendent of schools and courtroom grant, superintendent of schools and coroner.
Oh, corner. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Ron? John? Troy votes aye. Motion carried.
Page 24, we've been through quite a bit. But these were four of the funds that used to be not in the general fund. And then they were transferred to the general fund. And I know we've talked about it, that, you know, that especially it was messed up, or it was confusing with social services and information technology. But I think we're all in agreement these numbers are right.
Right.
So I move that we approve the transferred fund balances sheet.
I'll second that.
Been moved by Ron, seconded by John to approve the transferred funds balance sheet on page B24. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
Page B25, we already kind of agreed we were gonna transfer in the flood of 6,400. And we already talked about the flood transferring in 11,000. We talked about transferring in the R tax already, I think. And then we just added, we sort of talked, maybe we didn't, but alcohol or chemical hazard and alcohol monitoring. It's just the ending 2015 balance that we were proposing to transfer in.
In 16. Yeah.
Yep. So I would move that we approve the transfer of those five funds in the amount of 46,568.12 into the general fund.
Right, at the end of 16. Yeah.
At the end, at the end of 16.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Ron, seconded by John to approve the special revenue funds transfers as presented. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Ron?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean? Aye. Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Okay.
Okay, then we're into Schedule C. Would we have to do C6 since that's farm to market, since that's not a...
We already approved all this stuff, didn't we?
You didn't make a motion on FAR because there's no budget.
There's no budget, no.
No, we don't need one.
But you did on County Road, so you're good there. You didn't on permits.
Yeah, and the county road fund, that's gone too, so permits, yep.
Permits, new courthouse tax increase, EOC grant, 911 you did.
Okay, so let's stop there, let's do the permits. the new courthouse tax increases are self-explanatory, no change. The EOC grant, we're showing the money to be expended, correct, Ron?
Mhm.
Before the 2016, so there's $22,113.86. And that's what we talked about last time too.
We were just splitting up KJ's
Yep.
bid,
Yep.
putting part of it here and part of it.
So I would move that we accept permits, new courthouse tax increase, and the EOC grant for the 2017 budget.
Been moved by John that we accept our permits, the EOC grant, and the new courthouse tax increase budgets. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Ron? Dale?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye.
Confusing us, huh?
Oh no, I was confused.
Flood control, we did already, correct, Sam?
Yep.
Flood control you've done.
Welfare.
Flood 2011, flood 2009. So flood 2009 and flood control are gonna get amended and moved into the general fund in the end of 16. Yep. On the welfare board.
We did that one. Human services, there's nothing
There's
there.
nothing
Human
there.
services to nothing.
Emergency.
So you have emergency fund.
We didn't do that one?
No.
Or Ron can explain that one.
Well, in order so that we don't levy for it, we're just proposing to reduce the budget by 115,000 or down to 10,000. It's pretty much, I believe we did almost the identical thing last year. And then there's, that increases the carryover up to, well, at the end of December 31st, 2016, up to 144. And then we can budget again for the same old 125,000.
Yeah.
And no levy.
So this is, we're gonna amend this one at the end of 2016.
Yeah, that's good.
If we adopt eventually the way we're sending it back to Treasury, we won't have to go through this motion because it'll be zero when it comes forward, and we'll get to budget for whatever we think we're gonna have to put in there. So.
So I'll move to approve the emergency as submitted.
I'll second it.
Been moved by Ron, seconded by Sean to approve the emergency budget. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron? Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Our tax is done. Document preservation is done.
You didn't do a
ESO.
motion on that one.
Yeah, I don't think we did any, Kelly.
No.
Well, we can, which one?
You did do a motion on RTEX, but that's gonna get amended. Document preservation you didn't do.
Okay.
Do you want me to just keep going?
Yep.
Veteran service you didn't do.
Right.
See, wait a minute.
Are you okay?
That hasn't changed, or did it, Ron?
Veteran service? No, I don't think it. And I don't think, I don't think there's any changes.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Special assistance.
County victims advocate.
County victim advocate.
Sorry, did I miss one?
Yeah, on page
I did.
23.
County victim advocate.
And on that one, just to clarify, and we talked about it, that we're gonna send $1,000 to the Abused Persons Outreach Center in Valley City.
Yep.
And keep $1,000 in witness fees.
Yep.
And we pretty much all agreed that's what we wanted to do. So.
Yeah, and that was the same as last time. Yep.
I think it was
Yep.
probably the same.
Yep.
Special assessments.
That's the same.
County agent.
County agent.
That's the
only-
same. No, excuse me. That changed by. When did that change? 53. Oh, that changed because we applied the 0.2% salary increase rather than what she had there, I think, is what it went. The difference is?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Another one, the other thing that changed was travel got
That's
switched to travel/mileage.
Yeah, that's the one I was kind of thinking.
But the total shouldn't have changed.
Yeah, the total did change. It went from 61,077.45 to 61,218.07.
Oh, that must have been Health
Okay.
insurance, we pushed
There we
that
go.
number up.
Health insurance went up by,
Yeah.
health insurance went up by that amount. It went from 29.66.29 to 31.06.91. So,
They're estimating about a 17% increase next year, but it'll only be for half the year, so then we bumped ours up enough so that we'll,
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember that.
yeah,
so okay.
so we're good.
I'm good with that one then.
Cape County Agent Special Fund. I
Nothing
did
changed.
check with her on that one, John, because I know we had talked about switching that name. And I guess it's used for different, it's not just pesticide testing.
Right, right.
It's for other things, so we'll just keep that the same and just
Keeps,
try to remember.
why
Chem-
make things less confusing?
Yeah.
Chem hazard,
Chemical hazard.
No changes, not even there, so.
alcohol monitoring,
Alcohol monitoring.
No changes from last time.
weed we did already.
Weed control. Nothing.
Do you want to stop there and make a motion on these so that I kind of keep this safe through just up until weed control?
Oh,
Trying to make it easier for me to go back a few minutes.
I can't remember what all you said, so.
That's okay.
oh, it was document preservation, VSO, county victim advocate, special assessments, county agent expenditures, county agent special fund, and chemical hazard and alcohol monitoring were the budgets that we just went through.
You don't want to add our tax on that one?
I think we already acted on that, didn't we?
You didn't make a motion, it was just that you were going to amend it.
Okay,
I
we're
just-
gonna add our tax.
And our tax, yeah.
Okay.
So moved.
So seconded.
Been moved by John, seconded by Sean to approve the R-Tax budget, the document preservation budget, the VSO, the county victim advocate, the special assessments, the county agent special fund, the county agent expenditures, chemical hazard, alcohol monitoring, and that's it. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron? Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Weed, we took care of.
Leafy Spurge, there's nothing.
Nope.
Regional
We
corrections.
took care of.
You did not make a motion. So we have regional corrections, we have domestic violence,
There's nothing there.
we have county loan,
Mhm.
social security, oh, yeah, then all of these other ones are done. They've been pushed into the general fund. So it would only be the regional corrections.
Leafy Spurge.
I
Leafy
move
Spurge
that
is
we
gone.
accept into the 2017 budget, Leafy Spurge, regional corrections, domestic violence, and county loan.
You did what?
We did regional corrections and Bob.
We didn't make a motion.
You didn't make a motion.
Been
Yeah,
moved by John to accept the Leafy Spurge regional corrections, domestic violence, and the county loan budget.
Correct.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Social Security, did we act on that?
That's in the general.
Those are all on the
Oh,
general.
Okay, so IT, we're done that.
No, it's
Insurance reserve.
Ron. Or
If you go to E1,
Yeah,
E1.
You wanna know?
yeah, those, well, I don't know what this is, like, we haven't met on Griggs Nelson Health District yet. But you gotta put it in the paper, don't
on
you?
Monday.
That's on Thursday.
I know, but, so we gotta put it in the paper before we meet. So I don't know what to do. Should we just say maybe?
Well, this isn't a ratified budget. This is just a budget we're putting forward. We don't approve the budget until
After the hearing.
in the hearing anyway, so if these are just, so at the hearing, we'll say, okay, here's what we put forward, here's what it actually was,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, and then on all the rest of them, like the very bottom of the library, for example, I put a budget amount of 80,000. And what we used to do, we used to say approve the library budget for 80,000, not to exceed 4 mills. And like the ambulance district is approved for 21,000, not to exceed 4 mills. If we ever figure out what a value of a mill is, then you will know that you can only levy up to that 1 mill, up to the 4 mills, up to the 4 mills, and and I guess if that's okay, I won't make a motion yet.
No.
But
Good one, man.
okay, I'll make a motion then that we do approve the Schedule E levy other county levies in the budget amount with the stipulation that they are not to exceed the stated mills.
The stated maximums.
Stated maximum mills.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Seconded by John.
Just for clarification, the reason they don't give us the amount of the mill levy, the state doesn't give us the amount of mill levy, is because they're so anal about making sure budgeting is done in dollar amounts rather than mills. So they think by withholding that will
Until after
you actually give them the dollar amounts, that will keep you from figuring out that a mill is worth X amount of dollars and you won't budget in mills. So we didn't budget in mills, we budgeted in dollars with Ron's caveat that we don't exceed the mill levy. Yeah.
Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
Okay, the rest is just like,
Just garbage.
yeah.
No, that's the nuts and bolts of it, the rest of it, so you understand it. So now we just need a motion to present this 2017 budget to the public for their approval. For their consideration, excuse me.
Well, it's for their input, really. They don't have, it's not for their consideration. I mean, in the end,
Yeah, but we do have to have a motion in order to let Sam publish it.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's a few of them, like, on the highways, where I'm still making changes there. So, but I will move to approve the budget as we amended and we talked about today, and get them to you, because you gotta have it by
Monday.
Yeah, so I'll just.
And we approved the changes already.
We approved the changes. So, okay, so I move to approve the budget as submitted.
Been moved by Ron to approve the budget as submitted, and have the auditor proceed with publishing the budget for public's review and input. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Sean and Dale.
Which one?
Is there any Sean beat him, I think, a little. Is
Okay.
there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Ron? Sean? Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Okay. New courthouse, old courthouse.
No, I've talked to Brock Britt, and he's promised me he's gonna bid the concrete, and that is next Friday.
Next Friday, yep.
Yeah, I should, he's got, Bren Construction.
We're the ones that we have down here.
Yeah, I saw him there today, but I'll try to talk to him Monday or Tuesday and remind him, just saying, you haven't forgot about us, have you?"
Is that the only thing on next week's commission meeting, was the bid opening?
I think it is, yeah, I think it's a special meeting.
Has anybody else picked up a packet?
Anderson Construction wanted a packet as well, so Lori sent that to him.
Oh, okay.
We have 2 meetings next week?
Yep, you have a special meeting in Macville for the Nelson Grace
That's on
Health District.
Thursday.
Yep, that's Thursday, 8 a.m.
Thursday night, yeah.
And then you have the bid opening on Friday.
Okay. Any other new courthouse, old courthouse?
No, I guess. Not really, I mean,
Okay. Future business?
I can't really think of anything. Yeah, that's a good point.
JDA?
well, I don't know, I mean, that's a very good point. We haven't acted on it, we know what our options are right now, we just haven't had any action. I think we should put that either continue on with it or put it to rest, so let's put it on the next meeting.
Okay. Anything else?
Be done.
Starting to clean things up here, no.
John's phone's about to go off.
Yeah, that's right. Battery must have died.
Oh, it's
Oh, no, there's an emergency backup for that baby.
It's got its own cooling system,
Need a motion here, boys, before you all leave.
Adjourned.
I'm waiting.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'd second.
Seconded by Dale. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next meeting will be 8 o'clock on September 29th in Mackville at the Nelson District Health Center. And the 30th, a special meeting here to open concrete bids, and then the regular meeting, next regular meeting will be October 7th.
30th and 7th.